Manageable. I love easy monthly payments. I love lifetime warranties. Ryan Monsine from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. These people are amazing. You should check them out online, aluminumcompany.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped. Opt out.
Hey, man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
Just text them. See if you qualify. $750? Boom. And right now, they're offering a $75 bonus when you set up an eligible direct deposit.
Think I should call her back?
Yeah.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Hurry and receive an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Text BETTER to 323232. That's BETTER to 323232. BETTER to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by FineCo Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm. Injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Much cooler this afternoon than it was yesterday. We're back to sweaters and jackets this afternoon with a high of 57. And down to nearly freezing overnight. We'll be in the mid-30s, so there could be some patchy frost tomorrow morning. But tomorrow afternoon will be a bit warmer. Highs near normal in the mid-60s under partly cloudy skies.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 38 points to 46,247.
He'll hand it, a shot through the score! Oh, the power play! Oh, lets it go. Seth Jarvis, Ehlers wants it, he scores!
Shot clock is off, 16 seconds remaining. Duke will dribble it out. What an effort from the number one overall team in this tournament. The Duke Blue Devils are on to their third consecutive Sweet 16 under John Shire. 81-58 the final as they take out TCU.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Going up on a Tuesday. It does feel like we're in a waiting period, though. I'm just going to be real about that.
Yeah, we are.
Time is a flat circle. We're still waiting on news about Hubert Davis. So that's my way of starting the show by making sure none of you are waiting or anticipating or caught off guard by the fact that no news has really happened as of yet. And we will dive into all of that here on the show today. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Tuesday. There is a hockey night in Carolina tonight, although the game will actually be played in Montreal. And we will have first goal scorer predictions at 4:33, so think about that from the jump. Who's going to score the first goal for the Canes and in what period? With that being said, and that on your mind, let's get to the Big Three at 3. Number 1. Big Three at 3 is presented by Maynard Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, they do it all. Maynard Service Company. Number 1 is the Hubert Davis situation. It is hanging in the balance. It is wait and hurry up to wait some more. For those of us that have been following UNC, meaning Carolina as an athletics program as a whole, not just basketball, over the last couple of years, we know that the pace of everything is slowed down a bit. And after our conversation with Pat Welter yesterday, it's obvious, right? I don't know if the alignment is there as far as their decision-making structure. I don't know if they're built to make quick decisions, right? When somebody makes a decision, they got to run it by someone else, and they got to run it by someone else. And if they agree, they got to run it by someone else. And then they bring it back to the first person, and they're like, wait, this is different than what and it's red tape, whatever you want to call it. It's all logistics. I don't know, but it's not moving fast. And to the national media, I think they're like ready to just absolutely light up Carolina for how they're handling this. I don't know if they have a choice. I don't. Unless, and Seth Davis, who is part of that national media, did put out a tweet that said his understanding is they brought Hubert Davis in and asked him if he wanted to continue coaching Carolina, and he emphatically said yes. Obviously, if he would have said the reverse of that, then this could have moved much, much quicker. But barring Hubert Davis speeding up the train, this thing is going to just chug along as slow as it wants to chug. And because it is taking so long, you're opening yourself up to just an incredible amount of speculation and an incredible amount of discussions about your program as a whole. Things like, what is the standard for UNC? Right, I always bring this up as an example. Baker Mayfield with the Browns, I used to call as the Mayfield line, right? If a quarterback was better than Baker Mayfield with the Browns, they got like whatever the market is, right? The $45 million a year contract. If they were worse than Baker Mayfield, their team moved on from him after their rookie contract. He was the line. If you are struggling this hard with what to do with Hubert Davis, maybe he's right on the line. And if the Hubert Davis line is the better than that, you keep him around. Worse than that, you move on from him. What do you do with the guy on the line? Then the line, the standard for Carolina is one national championship appearance, one other top seed in the NCAA tournament, 3 out of 5 years not making it to the round of 32. Is that what you want the standard to be? Is that what you want the middle of the line to be? Or do you want it to be better than that? That's a conversation that's not really had if you move on from Hubert quickly, or if you emphatically announce him as your coach moving forward and you back him up immediately. That's a conversation that only exists in this purgatory that we find ourselves in. That is number one. We'll continue to be in purgatory, in limbo when it comes to Hubert Davis, and we'll update you if we hear anything different. That's number one. Let's get to number two.
Number two.
Carolina Hurricanes tonight at Montreal, 7 p.m. We are officially to the point in the season where seemingly everybody is counting down the games. Matter of fact, we could do that. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 games left in the regular season until we get to the part where we can actually judge the Carolina Hurricanes. Been saying it since at least 3 years ago, right? The regular season, the only thing you can do, 2 things you can do in the regular season. Make sure you qualify for the postseason and prepare yourself to be ready for the postseason. That's all you can do if you're the Canes, because we're going to judge the success or failure of your season by how far you make it in the postseason. 12 more games. Now, as far as tangible news, we can give you this. Charles Alexis Legault has been called up from the AHL Chicago Wolves. He is a player that I think it was 8 games earlier in the year. Impressed, right? Played above what the expectations were during that point in time where seemingly, I know it wasn't, but it felt this way. Every NHL level defenseman for the Canes was spending time on the injured list. He came up and played admirably for 8 games, then took a skate to the hand, sliced it open pretty good, missed a handful of months, and has since been back and playing in the AHL. He was called up. Dennis, are you reading into this aggressively, or is this just Shane Gostisbehere might miss a few more games and they want a healthy extra defenseman?
My guess is that someone's probably could be dealing with an illness or something. From my understanding, no one missed practice this morning. No one missed morning skate, but that doesn't mean someone isn't feeling great. So you bring a guy up just in case. I don't think that's a bad thing. My guess is he gets to Montreal, which, by the way, he's from Quebec. He gets to Montreal and, all right, you're here, buddy. Good to see you. Yeah. Press box that way. And then someone, everyone else plays tonight. It could be just, again, out of precaution if someone just isn't feeling 100%.
Can you get some family have the night off? Can they make it over there so you can see him after the game?
Why not?
Like that's could be it as well. He is local up there. And then the other bit of news is it appears Freddie will be in net for the Carolina Hurricanes. I imagine that's just rolling with some momentum, played really well in his last time out. And, with days off in between, why not roll out your goaltender that's playing the better goaltending right now?
Yeah, they don't play it again until Saturday.
That's true as well. So, again, depending on what's going on with Legault, maybe someone's under the weather or whatever. We don't know that. It appears as if, you got a 3-game road trip. You're going to roll mostly with the exact same guys because you've won the first 2. Why mess with it? That is number 2. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
Spring practice starts today for the Carolina football Tar Heels. Bill Belichick had a spring practice opening press conference. Few things. One, isn't it so much quieter this year for UNC football? And I actually think that's a good thing. Right? Go develop in the shadows a bit, in the quiet, not have – you're going to have spotlight on you every spring practice just like every other power conference team does. But, I don't know, the bright lights of the national focus not on Carolina. I think that's good for the most part. But Belichick did speak to the media today. We have a clip here for you on the timeline this year for Bill Belichick and his staff and how it was different than the timeline last year going into spring ball for Belichick and his staff.
Well, as I said, the biggest thing was just, being late on everything last year, and really just being behind on recruiting, being behind on the first portal, and then having to make so many changes with the second portal that really our team that went to training camp last year was a lot different than the team that finished spring practice. So, will there be a couple changes between the end of spring practice and the start of fall? Yeah, probably. But for the most part, I would say, 95% of our team is in place, and, we'll get a few freshmen that enter in June. But for the most part, everybody's here, and, we'll have a full year of working with them, and that's way different than what we had last year. So that's really a big thing. I wish we could have started on time last year, but it was what it was, and we're moving on.
The only thing I would push back on, and this is why it's so, I don't know, like you look for apples to apples comparisons. Jake Dickert took over Wake Forest, right? And I believe, if I recall correctly, after Bill Belichick took over UNC, and they play in the same conference. And I would assume, based on all the numbers we've seen out of Carolina, Wake Forest had less resources and put together a much better team. Yep. And played much better and won more games and plays in the same conference. And maybe the excuse falls a little bit more on deaf ears about not having a full offseason to ramp up when somebody else had even less of an offseason and ramped it up much more effectively than you did. But again, it's not exactly apples to apples. Maybe it's because almost nobody on Carolina's staff had college football experience. So not only were they behind in assembling their roster, they were also trying to figure out what the heck they were doing putting together their roster. And there's that too, right? Maybe the excuse wasn't as much the situation, but the people trying to deal with it. Which, by the way, is like, that's fair. If you say, hey, we didn't know the ins and outs and we know them better this year, expect better results. It feels like you're being more accountable, but it also is something a little bit more legitimate.
I don't know. They had, his son, Stephen Belichick, was coming from the college ranks. Freddie Kitchens was on the previous staff with Mac Brown. They had guys with college experience.
One year with his son, right?
But still.
I mean, one year's different. Listen, if you bring
the excuse.
If you bring in a really inexperienced staff, they're going to be inexperienced. Now, you can say they have all this NFL experience. They didn't have college experience, and they were trying to navigate a difficult-to-navigate world, which is the college football offseason. But that's not what he said, by the way. He didn't say we were inexperienced and needed to figure it out. He said we didn't have the time. I don't buy that. That's a different beast because Wake Forest pretty much proved you can do it in that amount of time or less with less resources and less names that are going to be going into eventual Hall of Fames and NFL Hall of Fames. But again, I digress. And this is the exact conversation that they're probably trying to avoid by being a little bit more in the shadows this year. They don't want the scrutiny, and I think that's good for their development. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Maybe this is keeping some of the scrutiny off of Belichick's doorstep because his basketball counterpart is getting all the scrutiny. Hubert Davis, is what he's done as the head coach of the Carolina Tar Heels enough? That is the question everyone's trying to answer, and we'll take our swing at it next.
Is your heating and air system ready for the warmer weather? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your Carrier Factory Authorized dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Hello, I'm John Heister for John Heister Chevrolet in Fuquay Arena. You know, people are asking us, how are you selling so many cars all of a sudden? Well, did you know that the Beltline has opened up the outer loop? We're only 28 minutes from Knightdale. We're only 19 minutes from Clayton and 15 minutes from Apex. We're now the most convenient Chevrolet dealership to reach in the Triangle. It's just one more reason to get off your keister and come to Heister.
Now at John Heister Chevrolet, get up to $15,000 off a new 2025 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 RST. See dealer for details. Together, let's drive.
Stop letting high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. It's a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity with no appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Hey, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day with a rate that's at a 3-year low. One client just got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out all their credit cards, started a home improvement project, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,500. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much cash you can get. No hard credit pull up front. And imagine, this time next week, you could be credit card debt-free. Loan Pronto, A-plus rated by the BBB with nearly 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Time for my LA.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Well, J. Cole coming out of break. North Carolina's own. You know, I was going to try to work really hard to find a J. Cole lyric that I could bring up that would somehow be an awesome segue to talking about Hubert Davis, but I'm not gonna put that on me because, quite honest, couldn't do it. I tried. Or else I would. But shout out to J. Cole. Big fan. Shout out to Hubert Davis because he has led us to a very, very fascinating conversation about Carolina basketball. What is the standard of UNC basketball? And spare me the Mike Tomlins, right? Spare me the standard is the standard. Like we all have our cliches. But here's the crux of it all. Carolina keeps coaches that reach their standard, and they move on from coaches that don't. And that's not just true for Carolina. That's true for like every profession, every job ever, right? If you feel somebody is reaching the standard that you hold for your company, you keep them. And if they are not, you move on. And you have to know what your standard is. You have to know what's realistic. Right? You can't sit there and say, and I'm just going to pick a random school. Don't make fun of me or don't get mad at me. You can't be Albany. I'm just going to attack the upstate New York. You can't be Binghamton and sit there and say, if we don't make the Sweet 16, at least, 2 out of every 5 years, we're going to move on from our coach. That's unrealistic. That's not fair. If you're Carolina, maybe that is. Right? And maybe it's more than that. So the question for Hubert Davis, the question for Carolina is very simple. If you're moving on from Hubert Davis, it's because a national championship appearance and another year as a number 1 seed, and then 3 more disappointing years, particularly in the postseason, out of 5 isn't up to your standard. If you're pro keeping Hubert Davis, you think that is up to your standard. But that is, I would say, a more cut and dry conversation, right? If you're in favor of keeping Hubert Davis, it's because what he did was good enough. And we can go into the numbers. We can go in and say, he's won just under 70% of his games overall. That's not in conference. He has 125 and 54 overall, and we can go into that. But it becomes a much more interesting conversation if you're somebody who doesn't think what he's done is good enough. If you don't think he has achieved the Carolina standard. Because then the natural follow-up, right? Here's the journalism in me. The natural follow-up is, okay, then what is it? And by the way, if I'm the next coach, I'd want to know that. Right? What are your expectations for me to have a very, very firm grasp of the expectations for me? Tell me what they are.
Lay it out. So if I miss it, I know.
So if I miss it, I know. And so if I make it, I know. And you can be as specific or as vague as you want, because obviously it's a sliding scale. Meaning, hey, we want to compete for ACC championships and routinely make it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Now, if you are winning the ACC, both regular season and tournament championship multiple years, but there's a couple upsets, so you're not routinely making it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, that's probably more palatable because you rose one of the goals above and beyond what you were asked to do. I genuinely think, and Carolina fans can correct or disagree with this, I think you should be one of the teams that realistically could win the national championship most years. Right? And that's not saying you win it every year. Obviously, that'd be ridiculous. But it's one of the teams that could realistically win the national championship. Like if I go to my sportsbook app and I go to Team Futures and I click on it, like I don't want to have to scroll forever to get to Carolina's national championship odds. Right? Be in that first group of 15 to 20 names every single year. And then if there's injuries and things that, reroute one year, okay, that's fine, right? And it's you got to take everything into account. But the thing that I think kind of bums you out most about Carolina is by the end of the year when it matters, right? Because, being number 1 preseason doesn't exactly get you much when you miss the tournament like they did in 2022, 2023. By the end of the year when it matters, out of the 5 years, 1 or 2, realistically, and honestly, you kind of saved that first year because I don't think they would have been in that inner group until they actually went on the run to the Final Four and to the championship game. So yeah, they salvaged that one, don't get me wrong. But I don't think they've been in the mix for a national championship level roster. And I acknowledge the randomness of March. I acknowledge the randomness of an ACC tournament, particularly when the ACC is good. And the best team doesn't always win. Matter of fact, it's pretty rare for the best team to win because it is that random. But you got to be in that group. You got to be in that group. Like, you shouldn't be excited to make the Sweet 16. If you lose in the Sweet 16, you should be bummed, which is a very different kind of vibe. This year, if they would have made the Sweet 16, they would have been celebrations. Is that what you want for Carolina basketball? And here's the other reason why I think it's really important to set these standards, and we're going to talk about it. So often the boost in resources, which some people actually believe Carolina needs, right? When you look at like NIL, maybe rev share, how much money is going to football that maybe in years past would have been shoehorned over to the basketball side. If you want an influx in resources, what you need is somebody that can ask for it. Okay? Right now, Hubert Davis can't demand a darn thing, right? Like if Hubert Davis walked in there and everyone's talking about whether he's going to be the coach or not, and he goes like, not only do I expect to be the coach next year, I need another $5 million in NIL, they're going to look at him like he's crazy. So, which is why, like, and I've made this point a bunch of times, a lot of times the boost in resources comes with a new coach, particularly when you're hiring a new coach that has options, because they'll make demands. They'll say, for me to take this job, I need X amount of dollars in support, X amount of dollars for my front office, X amount of dollars for NIL, because they that's when you can make those demands. The other thing would be if you set the standard as, I don't know, the Sweet 16 at least 2 out of every 5 years, or at least 3 out of every 5 years, whatever your standard is, and you're accomplishing that and more, that gives the coach a little bit of leverage to walk in and say, listen, I'm exceeding expectations. If I want to win a national championship, I need this, and this, and they can feel comfortable asking for it.
They had a $14 million roster this year, which is a big-time increase from what it was the season before. This is all stuff that was reported back in June of last year, $14 million, because we saw the structure of revenue sharing from Bill Belichick's contract and so forth, $14 million.
Correct. And
much more you need.
Well, this isn't from me, and it's going to annoy the heck out of me on who said it. Utah State's coach, who maybe just took the Cincinnati job, but if it's not him, I apologize. I'm doing this off memory. It's basically said it's 10 or 11 million dollars is the cost of entry to the Sweet 16. Like if you expect to make it there, it's 10 or 11 minimum million dollars. Yeah. So 14 million sounds like a ton until you recognize, well, shoot, if everybody's spending 11, and you're trying to win a national championship, and if look around the Sweet 16. If every one of those schools is spending 11, how much do you think Duke is spending? How much do you think Kansas is spending? How much do you think Arizona is spending? How much do you think Florida is spending? How much do you think Kentucky is spending? Not saying you can't win with 14, but saying if you want to have the same expectations as these other schools I just mentioned, it's probably fair to give the same amount of resources, or at least similar resources.
I mean, 14 is greater than 11. Last time I checked, on our math, that's $3 million more.
True.
$3 million.
No, I'm not saying 14 isn't a lot, but I'm saying I believe Carolina fans have a top 10 expectation for their school. Like one of the if you were to poll their fans and even their like insiders, right, people in their program, former players, they have the expectation that they are going to be a top 10 program, right? Do you think 14 is top 10 spending money? Or are you depending too much on the North Carolina brand to say we only should have to give 14? If others are giving 20, we make up for it in Carolina blue. Like there's really no industry where you would expect top 5 results if you're giving top 30 money. And if you can do that, you're not going to be at that school very long, because eventually one of them with top 10 resources are going to give you top 10 resources and you're going to bounce. A new coach walking into Carolina, assuming, and maybe it would help out if, there's some rumors that maybe Bill Self has to make a difficult decision to step down in Kansas. If he was kind of non-committal in his exit interviews. If Kansas opens up, I think that's good for Carolina. Because then whoever their number one option is can say, listen, Kansas is calling me. I'll sign with you right now if XYZ is taken care of. And it might force them to invest a bit more. Again, I have no problem. Like now, I sound like the most spoiled guy on the planet. I have no problem with a $14 million roster. That's awesome. That's great. Most coaches would do heinous things to have $14 million to spend on their roster. But if you want to have the same expectations and expect the same type of results of the top spending teams in the country, $14 million, I don't think is it.
Michigan's roughly $10 million.
I would be very – where'd you get that?
This comes from Michigan Live, M Live, seen from other places, apparently $10 million.
I'd have to do more research on it. I'd be very surprised if that. I mean, Yaxel I hate that guy's name. No offense, I just can't say it. It's my own problem. He was like the number one transfer in the country. I imagine that was $4 or $5 million himself. I know that Elliot Cadeau wasn't coming in for cheap. We spent better part of 10 right there on those two guys. So
it's according to Matt Norlander of CBS wrote this again like about a year ago that they're one of a few teams that has $10 million already committed.
Then again, I don't want to speak too down on anybody. What does he have Carolina spending? Right? Because
it's 14.
But you got that from the same place?
Yeah, from multiple places we're reporting we're 14.
Because everyone's kind of.
I know it's an inexact thing,
yes.
but let's be honest.
All I'm saying is I'd be very, very surprised if Michigan's roster cost $10 million. Very surprised. But I don't want to disrespect Matt Norlander because, I'm sure he got that reporting from somewhere. We'll look into it more, though. That's actually a legit deal. I do know that a coach that did not make the Sweet 16 said 10 or 11 million is the entry fee. I would be surprised if he thinks 10 or 11 million is the entry fee to the Sweet 16 and like the number 2 team in the country spent 10 because that would be very surprising to me. The Drive with Tim Donnelly are actually number 3. Let me get that right because it's Duke, Arizona, then Michigan. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. What do you actually real quickly here? What do you think the standard is for Carolina? Like to be happy with your coach, what do they have to do?
I think at minimum every year, like, okay, we'll start talking about our postseason run at the Sweet 16.
I mean, that's
at the Sweet 16 is when we should start talking about, all right, do we have enough to get to a Final Four? Sweet 16 is like for most teams is, hey, we're in the tournament.
I was going to say there are very few teams that make the Sweet 16, 9 out of 10 years.
Yeah.
Very few. If that's kind of what I'm talking about. If you want to do that, I do think there has to be a bigger investment because there's not, 15 teams in the country because that would be ridiculous. That'd be the entire Sweet 16. There's 2 or 3 under some of the hottest, best coaches in the country with investment that are kind of starting their judgment at the Sweet 16. By the way, I think Carolina can do that. I'm high on Carolina as a program, as a brand, and all of that. I just don't think they've gotten near that the last 5 years. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, we do have the Dean's List coming up. Dennis, you have something you would like to tell the people.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick from my good friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, you're running out of time. Running out of time to go to caniacsbike.com because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Simple to enter. You go to caniacsbike.com. You'll see pictures of the bike right there. By the way, if you want to see it in person, swing by Art Moto Garage. They're located right here in Raleigh. It's an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous motorcycle. Go see it for yourself. Go to caniacsbike.com. By the way, the deadline to enter, it's this Sunday, March 29th. That's the deadline. So don't wait around any longer, folks. Do it right now. Go to caniacsbike.com, enter for your chance to win. The bike will be given away live on the ice at the game April 4th, and it includes tickets to a catered suite. Go to caniacsbike.com, enter for your chance to win right now. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan comes back with the Dean's List next.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent.
Tired of hearing this from your local tire place?
Sorry, we can't fix it. Take it to Dauntless.
This year, skip the middleman and take your car straight to Dauntless Transmissions if you want quality work done right the first time. Transmissions, engine, or brake work, or just a regular tune-up. If it's broke, Dauntless will fix it. For quality work done with the kind of experience that works for you, take it to Dauntless Transmissions first. Go to DauntlessTransmissions.com to book your visit today. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
During Lowe's Pro Savings Days, the job works in your favor.
Milo's Pro Rewards members buy more and save more on materials they rely on every day. Get up to 25% off select molding when you spend $1,000 or more, and up to 25% off Pergo Evercraft laminate flooring. Put Pro Savings Days to work for you. Members get more at Lowe's. Valid through 3/27. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Just to put a quick addendum onto our conversation before the break. If there's one thing I hope happens in college basketball, actually there's a lot, but another thing, they should have to be a little bit more upfront with how much they're paying, because I did my best there to find out just in, 2.5 minutes, how much each team was paying. The numbers are all over the place. Like, reputable reporters are these 8 teams are over $10 million. And then some are saying, this player's making $7. And I'm going like, wait a second here. How teams are making 10, players are making 7, and they have other dudes on their roster. It's not like they're, a stud surrounded by scrubs. There's a lot of, I think, information that's missing out there on who's getting how much. But I think we know which rosters are most expensive based on the fact that if you're now, chilling in a bunch of commercials and things, you probably understand your value. Or if you have, a shoe contract and all that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We don't have exact numbers, though, which is a bummer. With that being said, I guess we put everybody over NIL article today from Wall Street. College. Was coming reading that article.
Wait, staying back in 8th grade?
Yes. So they're older, thus they play on varsity earlier, thus they get looked at by colleges more. Thus, they get the NIL money, is the logic of the parents holding them back into what they call 8.5 grade, which are sports-specific private schools that do gap years between 8th grade and 9th grade.
Of course.
The article ended with a 16-year-old bragging about being more advanced than the rest of his freshman classmates.
Well, yeah, you're 2 years older.
I played my junior year of high school football at 16 years old.
Me too.
If I was a freshman, yeah, I think I would be more. I'm not actually more advanced, right? I'm just a junior playing freshman sports.
My 18th birthday was about 2.5 weeks after my graduation from high school.
I think we got to give college coaches a little bit more credit, that they can be like, wow, impressive freshman tape. How old are you? And then all your advantage goes away. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
I, too, deal with male pattern baldness.
Did you start shaving in 4th grade? That's not the intention of the Dean's List. We're here to praise those in the college sports world, celebrate those in the college sports world, and I'm putting UNC football on the list because they opened spring practice today. Spring practice the first day was glorious. You had gone through all of winter workouts, and that's why State started theirs like a month ago. Do it even earlier. You go through all these winter workouts where it's just conditioning and lifting and your body's always sore and you're just trying to impress the strength and conditioning staff and you're watching film but you don't get to play. And then spring practice rolls around and you're back to doing football things. It's a fantastic day. And I only got 3 of them. Obviously, kids today might get 8 of them. I only got 3. More Dean's List. How about former Duke defensive tackle, Aaron Hall? Shout out to my guy, Eric Galko, he's a former Blue Hen, first of all, but he's the director of football ops at the Shrine Bowl. He tweeted this out. Duke had their pro day yesterday. So had their football pro day yesterday. Eric Galko tweeted, Duke defensive tackle Aaron Hall didn't have the votes to get into the combine. But after an awesome Shrine Bowl week, they're confident that he's going to be drafted after Aaron posted a 97th percentile on the relative athletic score pro day yesterday. Some of the numbers for you, measured in at 6'4" and a fourth, 297 pounds, ran a 4.9 440.
Okay.
That's a big boy moving.
Yeah.
Vertical 32 inches.
Okay.
Broad 9 feet 7 inches. That's a big, and then measured as elite. I don't need the numbers in both the shuttle and 3-cone. Big boy moving. Shout out to Aaron Hall. May have made himself a good amount of money yesterday, and I like that for Triangle athletes. Dennis, do you have any Dean's Listers you'd like to throw out there?
I do. I actually have one in particular I want to throw out there. I want to make sure I get everything correct here in regards to all this person's accolades. Okay? I'm actually going to throw out there Caroline Harvey. You probably remember her from the U.S. women's hockey team.
Correct.
Plays at University of Wisconsin. Won a gold medal, obviously, this year. She was also the Olympic MVP.
That works.
She was also the best defender, Olympic MVP, best defender of the Olympic All-Star team.
Filling
She's
up
also
the
WCHA Player of the Year, first team All-American. Also was a NCAA national champion and was also named the U.S. College Hockey Player of the Year. That is one heck of a 2026 so far for Caroline Harvey. So you're like, when you get all those accolades,
that's it?
That's it. just those like 9 things I listed.
Yeah.
National championship, Olympic gold medal, Olympic MVP, National Player of the Year in college as well. Tell me someone who's better. Go ahead, I'll wait.
Expand the trophy room. Expand.
For real.
Build an addition, another wing onto the trophy case. Congratulations. There's a lot of good there. Speaking of just stacking up awards, we do have a rule. If you win an award, you're on the award watch list, those things, and you go to one of the schools locally, you end up on the dean's list. Cam Boozer, Duke freshman, did rack up a few more awards.
Okay.
The USBWA, U.S. Basketball Writers Association, gave out their end-of-year awards. He is the recipient of both the Oscar Robertson Trophy for Player of the Year and the Wayman Tisdale Trophy for Freshman of the Year.
Well done.
Nationally for the USBWA. So I imagine he'll get a whole bunch of trophies and have to build another wing on his trophy case as well. But a couple of them coming his way from the U.S. Basketball Writers Association. One more here. I'm putting Autori Newkirk, who I believe is a rising redshirt freshman quarterback for the Carolina Tar Heels. Yesterday they had their pro day. Newkirk threw for the UNC pass catchers. This is a relatively new phenomena. Like when I played, if you still had eligibility and you wanted to keep that eligibility, you couldn't throw at pro days. We had wide receivers that had to catch passes at pro days from like our running backs coach, while we had multiple quarterbacks watching the pro day, because if we would have thrown, we would have given up our eligibility, which is ridiculous. But here's the reason why I put Autori Newkirk on it. He has 6 career pass attempts at Carolina. And first impressions are important, right? These scouts watching, they may have been there to watch, Kobe Paysour or whoever he was throwing to. But they're going to, if you dirt a whole bunch of balls, they're going to go, ooh, that guy. And then years later, when you're trying to play pro, they're going to go, I remember you. But he went out there and reportedly, a little rough early, settled in, did a nice job. I just respect the confidence, go out there and throw in front of all of the scouts that showed up at pro day. Help out your teammates, right? Make them look good. It's a good day for Newkirk. Not the most heralded quarterback in that room, but stepped up for his guys. And I think it says something that his guys asked him to. Right? I think players always know the best players. You know what I mean? The recess rule. You let players pick their own teams. Say, all right, you're the captain. You got first pick. They're going to do a pretty good job at identifying talent. So shout out to Newkirk. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and dismiss the Dean's List. And similarly, I want to tell you all about Manor Service Company. You know how I just said, if you're at recess, you have all the players, and you go, all right, pick teams. The first picks are usually the best players. Well, let's pretend it's recess. I'm one of the captains, and I get to pick a service company, right? All right, we have to pick heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical repair. First pick, it's always going to be Manor Service Company because locally owned, which is always important, right? You want people that know the area. You want people that understand when they go check your outdoor air conditioner this time of year. Oh, my goodness, it's discolored. It's like a lime green yellow. Oh, never mind. That's just the pollen. We know what's going on here. We're from the area. That's what Manor Service Company is saying. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Have them out for some maintenance checks, service schedules, but also when something breaks and you need it fixed quickly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all across the triangle. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Manor Service Company is the first round pick. And if, gosh, you like the second pick and they fall to you, you're doing jumping jacks. You're so excited. They are the 1-1. Go ahead and give them a call, 919-361-0993. That's Manor Service Company. Service you can trust, 919-361-0993, or visit them online at manorservices.com, MAYNOR services.com. We're nearing the end of the basketball season, which means a season-ending, season-long podium is next.
Your heart. It's the only one you have. Fortunately, you also have a choice. Expert cardiologists, talented surgeons, highly skilled specialists, all of whom chose WakeMed. Why? The main reason is the same reason patients choose WakeMed. Everything you need for the best possible care is right here. Learn more at wakemed.org. WakeMed Heart and Vascular Physicians. Your heart, your choice.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
Ooh, with the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's bow time, and then there's Bojangler time. You heard right. The Bojangler fish fillet sandwich is back for limited time at participating Bojangles. A light, flaky, perfectly seasoned fish fillet with lettuce, cheese, and tartar sauce tucked inside a bun. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped, opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
Just text them, see if you qualify. $750? Boom! And right now, they're offering a $75 bonus when you set up an eligible direct deposit.
Think I should call her back?
Yeah.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Hurry and receive an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Text BETTER to 323232. That's BETTER to 323232. BETTER to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by FindCo Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Please subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Awesome things like our conversation with Pat Welter yesterday about the Hubert Davis situation. Pat Welter, WRAL, sports reporter. Things like comment sections that could have your opinion right here on air. Matter of fact, at the end of the show, we're going to do a Hubert Davis feedback frenzy. So it's all reactions to Carolina basketball conversations that we've had, and that's going to come up right at the end of the show, so about 5:45, which means there's still time. Head to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, find the conversations you want to comment about, jump in the comment section, subscribe while you're there, by the way. leave some comments, and you might just hear it here on 99.9. We try to hear feedback from you in many different ways. One of them, those YouTube comments. So 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Again, subscribe while you're there. And tell your friends about it. Now, podium time. There's my dramatic music. So this week's podium is a little different than we've been doing all college basketball season. And it's a little different because we acknowledge that with Duke being the only team still playing, we could drag this out until whenever their season ends. But, I mean, every week from this point forward is just Duke gold, and it's a tie for everybody else being stagnant. And that's not fun for us. So, season-ending podium rankings. This is not a one-week award. This is not a what have you done for us since last Tuesday award. This is a men's college basketball season award. What have you done for us for the last half year, essentially? And as always, there's a gold medal, a bronze medal, goodness gracious, a gold medal, a silver medal, a bronze medal, and an off the podium. My brain must really be in a pretzel if I'm just forgetting how gold, silver, and bronze goes. Gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal, off the podium. And if you're watching on YouTube, you already have the peak of what it's going to be. Everybody else, I'll reveal them one at a time. Off the podium, Wake Forest. Can I say it one more time? One more time. I still think they're better than their record shows.
I agree. I'm with you.
I still think they're... It never really came to fruition, but I still think they're better than their record shows. It was a tough year for them. Do you know what's the real bummer? They were, fourth in the ACC last year and didn't make the NCAA tournament. This year, if you're fourth in the ACC, you're looking at like a 5 seed, a 6 seed. So they maybe got hosed by the reputation of the ACC the past couple of years. But this year they're not an NCAA tournament team, and they didn't deserve to be based on their record. But I hold out hope. They're going to turn it around. Season's over. They're already making plans, exit interviews and things. I'm like, no, next week is when they really start playing their best basketball. I don't know. Let's jump to bronze. Bronze goes to NC State. And I have to be honest, we had to have like a real debate on if State should be silver around our cubicles this morning, just because they did improve a lot year over year, right? The year before they didn't make the ACC tournament. This year they made the NCAA tournament. Like, that is a big improvement. But that's probably not acknowledging all the context of, well, what else happened over the year? Well, you found more NIL money, right? You hired a coach who made lofty promises. The ACC was better overall, right? Kind of the reverse of Wake. If they would have finished 7th the year before, they probably wouldn't have made the NCAA tournament. If they finished 7th in the ACC this year, they did. It's a bronze, but it's a bronze acknowledging that last year they were off the podium in our season long, right? So maybe that's the best way to describe it. You don't get a boost for improvement. Matter of fact, bronze acknowledges your improvement. Because last year you missed the ACC tournament, fired your coach, you were off the podium. This year you're back on the podium. So the improvement is acknowledged in your place. Hopefully you learn the lessons as to why you're not gold or silver, and then next year you will be, right? Because that would include better roster assembly and better spending of funds and everything else. So bronze for NC State. Still a down year, even though it was an improvement. Silver goes to Carolina. I think that's obvious. This is part of the nuanced conversation about Hubert Davis. I do think this year does have a lot of, I always talk about the difference between excuses and reasons. This year, I think they have some good reasons for why it was disappointing at the end, right? Caleb Wilson's injury being first and foremost. That is a legit reason as to why you would severely underperform at the end of a year. However, the Hubert Davis conversation is not just about this year. It's about the last 5, which is why it's a different conversation than the one we're having now. They're silver because they were the 4th best team in the ACC this year.
Yeah.
They're silver because they were a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament. And I believe if Caleb Wilson, if they could have pulled a SMU and just said, like, Caleb Wilson's going to be back, like SMU did with Edwards, even though he wasn't back.
One of their players,
Edwards, their second leading scorer. They were just like, he's going to be back. Everybody trust us. And then they went to the first round, the first four, and he was like, oh, no, he's not playing. If they could have just made us believe Caleb Wilson was healthy, I think they would have had a dark horse chance at a 5 seed, which who knows, right? The sliding door could have changed everything. So there's some reasons why they underperformed this year, which is why they end up silver, right? They beat Duke. Maybe one of the best wins of the entire year, right? Defeating Duke in the manner that they did. That goes for every team in the country, right? Beating Duke in the manner that they did. So they're silver. Gold goes to Duke. I mean, they're still playing. They won the ACC regular season. They won the ACC tournament. They only have 2 losses. They're stacking things up. Ken Palm has them as like one of the best teams the last however many years. The metrics like them. They have the National Player of the Year according to a whole bunch of awards. They have the Freshman of the Year according to a whole bunch of the awards. They have some of the best defensive players according to a whole bunch of the awards. Obviously, the Duke haters will never acknowledge anything successful unless they win a national championship. And I actually think in a lot of ways Duke measures their seasons by banners that they hang. Now the conference tournament matters, the conference regular season matters. But, there's one glaring absence in John Shire's resume, and that is a national championship. So there's always going to be that addendum. But let's be real. This is, we use this analogy off air today. This is a Katie Ledecky gold medal. This is there's gold, and then there were a few more laps swam by the silver medalist while Katie Ledecky was catching her breath and getting ready for her next race. There's a big gap between Duke and everybody else on the podium for season long this year, which you could say is not great for the ACC. But I think that's, Duke's obviously solid. They're not going anywhere. But I do think a bunch of ACC schools are ascending, which is good for the conference. And there we go. Gold Duke, silver UNC, bronze State, off the podium Wake Forest. Now it's time for our season-long gold star.
That's right. We have a season-long gold star. There's quite a few schools we could throw out there. For example, Queens wins the ASUN, goes to the NCAA tournament
for the first time in school history.
For the first time ever in school history.
The first team whose university name starts with a Q to ever make it to the NCAA tournament.
There you go.
Eat that, Quinnipiac.
You also factor in as well, you have Winston-Salem State women's basketball. You had North Carolina Wesleyan men's basketball, among other schools that have made the NCAA tournament at other levels. But when you make the NCAA tournament, winning your conference, and you also pull off one of the big upsets in the first round of the tournament, the High Point Panthers, your gold star for 2025-2026, which, by the way, with the first-year head coach.
I want to talk about High Point quickly. If you want a justification for why mid-majors should spend on athletics, look at what has happened to High Point in the last week. High Point hits a game winner, right? The Chase Johnston leak out, the 2-point bucket to win it against Wisconsin. Everybody cheers the basketball team. And then the public curiosity spikes, right? And all of a sudden it's High Point. What is High Point? Then you're seeing articles on social media about the things that High Point does as a university that are different than what everybody else does, right? Now people are talking about, they actually have like a mock airplane? So you can go and take a seminar on what if you happen to be sat next to a CEO on an airplane, and what proper networking could you do? And they have like some really nice restaurant that you can go to. I think it's like once a week or once a month on your meal plan, where you learn how to dine in high leverage situations. So the first time your boss goes, hey, we got the big clients coming into town, you're on the account, I need you to join me at Le Blah 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 fancy restaurant, you're not sitting there going, which fork? Which fork?
What do I do?
How do I pronounce this? What do I order? What's gonna, show everybody that I have no idea what I'm doing? Like High Point has that. You may think that's good or bad, whatever, but if there's somebody in California who wants their kids or wants themselves to have that experience, they're gonna apply to High Point. And they would have had no clue about those programs if Chase Johnston doesn't make the leak out to beat Wisconsin in the NCAA tournament. Spend on sports. I've always called it the front porch of your university, right? If you're selling a house, the front porch may not be why they buy, but it's why they walk inside and look at the rest of the house. If your basketball team is good, it may not be why people apply, but it's why they end up on your social media page or on your brochure clicking around and looking to see if they should. It's the front porch of your university. Shout out to High Point. Now all you have to do is go be like a darling of March Madness to get everybody looking, but that's why you spend on sports. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the podium. And you're right. We could have named a whole bunch of different teams there for Gold Star, which goes to a mid-major or lower division team that would have a hard time working its way onto the podium. That is it for the podium here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly. Now, in just a moment, we will tell you a hilarious story about what went on with Brandt, Tillis, and 99.9 The Fan at the Panthers executives press conference today. Stick around.
Is your heating and air system ready for the warmer weather? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your Carrier Factory Authorized dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Stay informed with The Rundown, the daily newsletter from High School OT that delivers high school sports news and insights straight to your inbox. Brought to you by High School OT and powered by our sponsors, First Carolina Bank and Smith Douglas Homes. Subscribe to The Rundown at highschoolot.com.
What'd you say, Ramses? Today is Give UNC. You heard it here, Carolina. Leave your mark. Give today at giveunc.unc.edu.
You know that feeling? That confident, swaggerific feeling that says, look at me, world, I know stuff. Own that feeling with PlaySmart, a fun new go-to resource from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With PlaySmart, get to know the odds, learn tips, set limits and budgets, and make the most of your play. Awesome feeling, right? Right. Play smart, the way smart players play. Visit ncplaysmart.com. Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hi, Flo here from Progressive. You know, life changes quickly, so it's good to have flexible coverage.
Oh, you mean like adding another vehicle?
Yes, that's something we can do.
Great, because I was thinking about getting a van so we could just keep the kids' softball stuff in the car.
Oh, we don't need to get into specifics. Just saying it's easy to change.
Oh, and Hannah wants to try the tuba.
Again, we don't need the specifics.
Last year, she wanted to be a tap dancer, but that only lasted 2 lessons.
Okay.
But she kept the shoes because they are adorable.
Well, just know that with Progressive, you can easily add another car to your auto insurance because we know life changes.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Definitely cool and breezy out there this afternoon, but plenty of sunshine. So, with the right clothes, it doesn't feel too bad out there. Temperatures are in the mid-30s tonight, so don't be surprised by some patchy frost. And then tomorrow will be slightly warmer. Our highs are in the mid-60s, and it will be partly cloudy.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell today, down 84 points to 46,123.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dennis, some hilarity ensued on Brandt Tillis's press conference today.
Sometimes things just unintentionally happen, and it's, it's fun.
Now, you're a main character in this one. Would you like to tell the story, or would you like me to tell the story?
I want to hear you tell it from your perspective, then I'll provide truth.
So Brandt Tillis, front office executive of the Carolina Panthers, had a press conference today in which He was talking about potential negotiations with Bryce Young. Where does he see this team, meaning the Carolina Panthers, is as far as contending or building and right, the things you would ask a front office executive. For those of you that don't know, what is he officially? Like the executive
VP of football operations?
He's essentially Dan Morgan, who's the general manager's number 2. Like he's his right-hand man. Very important in Carolina for cap, negotiations, evaluations, everything.
Yep, executive VP of football operations.
So he's speaking to the media, and Dennis is it's both in person and Zoom.
It's all Zoom.
All Zoom. There you go. And Dennis is representing the 99.9 The Fan, grabbing audio, paying attention. He's on the Zoom, and they say like, all right, next question, Dennis Cox, 99.9 The Fan. And then you just hear Adam Gold talking about FanDuel Sportsbook. And do we have the actual audio?
We do.
All right, perfect. This is from Brandt Tillis's. By the way, it's not like just us. This isn't an interview like 99.9 The Fan. This is every media gets the availability. Everyone's sitting around. You ask a question. He answers it, but everybody can hear the entire interaction.
The Panthers are streaming it on their YouTube and all that kind of stuff. It's out there.
And this happens.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Dennis Cox, followed by Alex Zitlow.
For opening week, so you can customize how you experience the game. Make your choice. The reward will be ready for you to use on your next MLB bet. FanDuel.
Alex Zitlow.
.com/local. FanDuel.com/local.
Dennis, you're okay.
Opening week. FanDuel, official partner of the MLB. 21 and over and present in North Carolina.
Is this normal?
No, I haven't heard that before.
Bonus and token expiration.
Brandt, I'll just go ahead with my question here.
So what happened was when they turned on Dennis's kind of audio, his microphone, it was playing commercials. Was that our live 99.9 The Fan feed?
Yeah, I think it was coming from The Fan. Yeah.
And it happened to be playing an advertisement featuring Adam Gold, and that went out to everybody, including Brandt Tillis. He was the one that asked, is this normal?
Is this normal? He's laughing, by the way. He's chuckling. He's like trying to keep it together, which, by the way, props to Brandt Tillis for locking back in and finishing the presser.
It was a funny moment, and some people are having some fun with it online.
Oh, absolutely should.
But
as am I.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of, because it happens to me all the time. I am a big tabs guy on the internet. Like, oh, I want to read that article. I'll leave it there, new tab. And, like there's a stat I don't want to forget, so I leave the tab open and I'll go keep doing whatever I'm doing on a new tab. And occasionally one of those tabs starts playing audio, and I'm just like, where's it coming from? Right? Which tab is it? And you're clicking, you're muting everything, and then it may go quiet for a while, and then suddenly it's back. That's what it reminded me of, where everybody's going like, where's that audio coming from? And it turns out it was our very own Dennis Cox.
Yeah, so there was just a little technical issue for some reason for my microphone. The 99.9 The Fan programming feed was coming through that fader. I'm not entirely sure why, because I recorded some stuff through that microphone just minutes before the presser. So I don't know what happened. It was just I probably clicked something wrong on Zoom. It's what it is. But it was a funny moment. And by the way, Alex Zitlow actually asked the question that I was going to ask regarding Jalen Coker. So I'm like, all right, well, at least he asked the question. I'm not even going to try and get back into this mess.
That was going to be my follow-up. What question did we miss out on?
It was actually about Jalen Coker.
All right. So the question got asked and answered. It's funny. Again, you can go find the clip online and things. It's
if you follow me on social media, it's there. It's hilarious. Just seeing Brandt Tillis' face is priceless.
At The Fan Rookie. And, Adam Gold's endorsement gets a little extra amplification, so Adam should ask for more money.
Yeah, where's my kickback on?
There's got to be something there. At least some free bets or something, right? We could work in some boosts, some
tokens?
No risk tokens, something. With that being said, though, that was a part of a Brandt Tillis presser, and when Brandt Tillis talks, first thing we want to do, obviously, is play weird audio for him that he's not expecting, and then we want to break down exactly what he said and what it means. To get us back into the football kind of side of things, let's listen to Brandt Tillis on the decision made by him, Dan Morgan in the front office, to trade Andy Dalton, beloved backup quarterback, to the Philadelphia Eagles.
We signed Kenny Pickett
and we want Kenny to be our backup, and Andy wanted the opportunity to be a 2 somewhere else, and we did the best we could to find a good opportunity for him and one that would work out for us.
It was a you scratch my back, I scratch your situation. I love that you can spin it as like, we did it for Andy and also saved over $2 million against the cap. Coming from the cap guy. We would have done it whether he wanted to or not, but that's how I took it. But he did want it, so it worked out. Way to go, Andy. More from Brandt Tillis. This is, I think, the really the most interesting part of his conversations today. He was asked, where are the Panthers as a team when it comes to roster building? This is what Dan Morgan's right-hand man said.
I look at the team building process in 3 stages. It's building, contending, and sustaining. And I think of it like climbing up a mountain. And I think right now we're somewhere between building and contending. And we can see where it all plays out. We're still adding good players to our roster. We are more competitive than we have been in the past, and we can just see how it plays out from there.
I agree kind of with where they are in that. I think it's funny to say, hey, these are the 3 stages, and we're between the 2 of them. It's like, all right, well, you're already in a 4th stage, which it's all shades of gray. I'm just messing around. I agree with him. The only thing is sustaining is one of my pet peeves. What I think you take more just because you don't have as like if you're contending, chances are your guys are expensive, so you don't have as much to play with. But I want you swinging for the fences over and over again. I want you to think about getting better. Like sustaining to me, right? The cliche is true. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. There is no standing still. Like I want you trying to get better no matter what, with the acknowledgement that you might have more to lose when you are a true contender. I would also say if it's, building, contending, sustaining were his 3, I still think they're on the scale closer to building than they are to contending. I still think this offseason was one, and they've done a lot of it already, but this offseason was one where they were actively like, without doing this, we are not even in the realm of high expectations. There were still major things on the to-do list. We'll see if those end up working, right? I think they took some really, really good swings at fixing those problems. But they're still in like the active, we need to get a lot better category. They're beyond where they were obviously like 2 years ago. They've made a lot of progress, but I don't think they're in like the firmly contending stratosphere yet. Unless you can tell me with 100% certainty that, Jalen Phillips is not only going to work out, but, he's going to be one of the more positive possible outcomes in his range of outcomes. Not only is Jalen Coker going to do really, really well on higher volume, but he's going to do really, really well on higher volume, and they're going to find a number 3 wide receiver. Like those are the things that take you from building to contending.
That's what he said. That's they're in that transition.
Yes, I just think I'm not disagreeing with him. Mm-hmm. I'm just adding I think they're closer to building than contending. Unless you tell me all those things are going well. And if you draft well, obviously that changes everything. That's the ultimate gasoline to the fire of building is, getting really, really good in the draft. He was then built up on, I said it again, this conversation was the more interesting one, on how roster construction will change once they get to that next stage, right? And again, the 3 stages are building, contending, sustaining. How will it change once they get firmly to contending was the question. Here's Brandt Tillis.
The contending to sustaining probably means dipping your toe less in free agency, and it's more about retaining your own players who you've drafted and relying on the draft to bring in your talented players. It's a hard stage to get to, and not many teams do, and I hope we get there.
I agree with that. I think most of what it is like you almost don't even choose. It's just when you're contending, you want to take care of the guys that are helping you contending, so you have less to spend in free agency. It's like the situation forces you to dip your toe into free agency less. And it probably becomes even more important to draft well. That's if we're being real, If we want to boil down being a GM just to the absolute studs, we just want to tear it down to the most important thing, draft well. Just draft well. If you can have players you trust playing big minutes on rookie contracts, everything else becomes so much easier. It's incredible. Like one All-Pro on a fourth round contract makes everything else possible. And it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like, oh, just do it. But it just makes everything so much easier. And it doesn't matter what level, what stage you're in. Draft well, and it becomes easier. Draft well, and it's that conveyor belt of good. You can either choose to keep the players or you trade them away for a boatload of future picks, and you increase your chances of keeping that conveyor belt rolling. And they've done a good job. Last year especially, I think they did a really good job drafting. Tedero McMillan helps out. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Don't forget, we do have first goal scorer predictions for the Carolina Hurricanes game tonight at Montreal at 4:33. So if you haven't done so already, start thinking about who's going to score the first goal for the Canes and in what period. We'll ask you to call in at 4:33 if you want to put your predictions on wax, if you want receipts. So buckle up for that. That's coming up in a little bit. And before that, Copper Drop also on the docket. Stick around.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina. It's your Canes and Montreal.
Miller's coming in shorthanded. Miller back in, he scores!
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Nikishin got that bomb and he scores! Game over! Alexander Nikishin's first overtime game winner!
On your official audio home of Hurricanes hockey, 99.9 The Fan.
Listen up for big savings during Declaration of Deals Month at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Get that 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie you've had your eye on while they're offering $14,500 off. Or pick your financing 0% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. John Heister's declaring Jeep deals too. Get $11,000 off a 2025 Jeep Wagoneer or over $12,000 off a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Limited. So get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington today.
Stop letting high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. It's a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity with no appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Hey, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day with a rate that's at a 3-year low. One client just got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out all their credit cards, started a home improvement project, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,500. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much cash you can get. No hard credit pull up front. And imagine this time next week you could be credit card debt free. Loan Pronto, A+ rated by the BBB with nearly 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
And we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Free at every AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm not sure if it was this exact song, but do you remember the game Crazy Taxi?
No, I can't say I do.
I want to say a PS2 game, PlayStation 2, where you just drove around. It was like picking up people and dropping them off, but you had to like drive crazy. It was called Crazy Taxi.
Oh, it's like Grand Theft Auto?
No.
Oh.
It was just Taxi. You just picked people up and dropped them off.
It was Sega.
Maybe.
Apparently.
I didn't have the game.
It was published by Sega. Crazy Taxi, the video game.
I just had like a weird flashback moment where it took me back to probably at a friend's house playing Crazy Taxi. Songs have a strange ability to put you in different locations.
Let's see, it was a series of racing games developed by Hitmaker and published by Sega. It was first available as an arcade video game in 1999, then released for the Dreamcast console in 2000.
I don't know. This song reminded me of it, though. If anyone else had that same experience, let me know. If not, pretend like this conversation never had.
I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it's fun to look back on some old video games and see the soundtracks that they used to have. Like College Football 06 was awesome.
Oh, yes.
And College Football 06 was great.
Especially if it's a game where like the playlist played while playing the game. So if you played it for a couple hours, you just heard like the same 12 songs over and over and over and over again, and it would just get ingrained in your head. It's part of your DNA now, and you don't even know, which I think may have just happened right there with that song. Either way, let's go ahead and move on. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As promised before the break, it is time for a game of Cop or Drop.
You want true enlightenment? Well,
Hubert Davis, basketball coach by the end.
Okay. So if they do saying is the man for the job, and it's going to cut his legs out from him for like next, because it's that he's on shaky ground based on how long this has taken. But at the same time, I think they'll give him like the dignity of, it not being leaked late in the day and trying to bury that. Like, he's still a member of the UNC program. He's a legendary former player, and he has two really, really, really exciting wins for Carolina fans as a head coach that involve Coach K. So I think it'll be, a morning, a 9 or a 10 a.m. statement, maybe even a presser of some kind, like where the athletic directors, because they have like a one and then one in waiting, will make it obvious that they appreciate what he's done. Like, I think he deserves that. So I don't think it'll happen this evening, even if perhaps there's, some leakage to some insiders. I don't think it'll officially happen until hopefully a morning where they can do it the right way.
All right, next one here, Cop or Drop. Hubert Davis, Cop or Drop, will be back as UNC men's basketball coach next year. Cop or Drop?
I just don't see how you put all this, for lack of a better term, all this toothpaste back in the tube. I don't think it would have been the most ridiculous thing in the world if after the season they put out a statement that said, like, this season had its challenges. We're aware there are adjustments that need to be made, but Hubert Davis is the right man to lead this program. If they would have done that then, I don't think it's the craziest, like, most, oh, my goodness thing. But they didn't do that. And the longer and longer and longer they've gone without doing that, the more and more difficult I think it is. At this point, again, like I said, I think the toothpaste is out of the tube. I think you move on. Which, by the way, Hubert's going to have options. Like, if he wants to go keep coaching, I think he'll have options. If he wants to go into media, right? People forget he did that before he was on Roy Williams' staff for a decade. Like, he can go back and talk college basketball and, do some different things. So he's not going to be in a hard place at all. It's just you're going to have, like, I think the next week might really stink for him, and that's a bummer. I hope he goes on vacation, turns off his phone, and just unplugs for a little bit, because the next week will be a bummer.
All right, this one actually comes from online. This one comes from Comebred here on our YouTube live chat. Cop or Drop, Brandon Bussey starts game 1 of round 1 of the playoffs. Cop or Drop?
As everybody knows, I am not a fan of making a decision before you have to make that decision, right? The deadline is not today to decide who starts game 1 of the postseason.
Cop or Drop?
I know, I'm going to.
Okay.
But I'm saying I would not be making, like, if I were Rod, I'd be like, why are you asking me this? I don't have to make this decision. But I'm not Rod. I'm me, and I'm doing Cop or Drop. So all we can go off is what we've known thus far, and I'm dropping it because Freddie's playing better right now. And I don't think it has to be more complicated than that, right? Could Bussey be playing better by the end of the year? Well, you got whatever it is, 12 games to figure it out. But I like, if the playoffs started today, you're starting Freddie. So my answer is going to be Freddie. So whichever, I forget how you worded the question. Was it Bussy will be
Bussy
starting?
Starts game 1 of round 1.
Dropping it. And honestly, if it's right now, I don't know how many games Bussy would get thrown his way if Freddie isn't being fatigued. But again, 12 games left. I'm not making any official decisions until all of the hay is in the barn, so to speak. And it's definitely not in the barn as of right now.
All right, second one from Comebread. Cop or drop. Bradley Nadeau plays during the last few games of the regular season and plays in a playoff game. Cop or drop.
All right, so what if I think half of that is a cop and half of that is a drop? How do I handle this?
Well, then it'd be a drop.
Okay, then I'm dropping.
What's the half of your cop? What's the half of your
I think he plays at least a couple games, or 1 or 2 games this year.
Oh, at the end of the season, sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
they got their playoff spot locked up. Yeah,
yeah. Bring him up, and by the way, like his stats are good. Like he's in very, very small sample sizes. He does exactly what you think he should do, which is fire a lot of shots and he has a couple goals this year already, right?
I think it's 1.
All right, 1. Either way, played a handful of games, goals scored, shots taken. There you go. But I mean, if things go well, he's not playing in the regular or in the postseason, right? They have forwards that have driven them to being by far and away the best team in the Metropolitan Division this year. And as long as they're healthy, I don't think you mess with that. I'm a Bradley Nadeau fan. Don't get me wrong, and I think they need or will need in the next in a couple of years, whatever it is, more of his mindset, which is I go into every game thinking score goals. But no, barring injuries, I don't think he plays in the postseason. But I will really, really enjoy if he gets a game or 2 at the end of the regular season and they're resting starters. I think that would be really fun for us to watch. So,
all right,
drop.
Next one here, cop or drop. Let's shift focus to the Carolina Panthers. Cop or drop. They trade down into the bottom of the first round, into the let's say the bottom first round being 25 or lower in the first round. Cop or drop?
Dropping.
Okay.
I think they'll explore it. I don't know. I'm getting further into my draft prep. I'm not fully all the way there, but I'm getting further into it. I don't think there's a tier at 2022, which would kind of be what they're hoping for, because if the tier is 35, meaning, maybe there's a 9 really good players, then a drop off. Then there's, 10 more in the next tier, and then there's a drop off. Right, where those tiers are is important, because you don't trade up unless you think you're getting into another tier. If you think the player drafted now is equal to the player that would be available at your pick or close to, you don't trade up. So I don't know if there's motivation for the teams at the bottom of the draft to jump up to the Panthers, because I don't necessarily see a tier there right now. Maybe there's a specific need that you can milk a little bit. Mm-hmm. Somebody needs a wide receiver, and there's a good one that's kind of a tier of receivers that's still on the board, and you could use that, but that's really nitty-gritty to predict. From an overall player standpoint, I don't see right now a tier around where they pick, which kind of motivates trades. And also, they've filled a lot of holes at the free agency portion of this offseason. So maybe they can just go best player available and sit at their pick. They don't have to trade up. They don't have to trade back. Just best player available. The only thing that always adds a caveat to this is if they are willing to move into the second round,
mm-hmm.
then I think it becomes interesting, because you might be able to pick up a real pick in next year's draft. And I think everybody is pretty unanimous that next year's draft is better than this year's draft. So if you can be a bit patient and boost your 2027 prospects, that would be interesting to me, especially if you don't see anybody that's a difference maker at 19.
I'm curious for a team like Kansas City that traded away, was it Trent McDuffie to the LA Rams? They're picking at 29. They also have the 9th overall pick, so they have 2 first-round picks. So I wonder if Kansas City, who's hey, we want to get back into Super Bowl contender mode, there's a guy that we feel like can help us right now. Let's jump from 29 to 19. Because there's hey, you know what? There's a guy that's fallen that we really like that we can plug in and play right now. Let's go jump up and get him. And you might be able to have Kansas City overpay maybe.
Yes, they would have to be I think they would have to feel like they're just a rotational starter away from that. I don't think there's going to be like, oh, this is a dude we can go get that can put us over the top. They would have to feel like, hey, if we get one more rotational edge rusher here, that could be the difference. Like, I don't think there's going to be those glowing, like, final pieces available at 19 this year. Sometimes there are. Sometimes 19 in a strong draft is like, there's the guy. But then you might not want to trade that away. Again, everyone has a difference of opinion. What Dan Orlovsky just said today, Ty Simpson is the number 1 quarterback in the draft. I've watched him. I have Fernando Mendoza significantly above him, right? So if you can find somebody that just sees the draft differently than you, heck yeah, trade, right? But if you can't do that, I think they'll stick. Stick and pick is what I predict.
All right, next one here regarding the Carolina Panthers in the 2026 NFL Draft. Cop or drop? The Carolina Panthers select a pass catcher in the first round. Cop or drop?
I'm getting closer and closer to this as my preferred option. So as of right now, I'll cop it. For a few reasons. One, it's still a requirement that they continue to build up everything around Bryce Young. Two, the offense was bad last year. Like, I want that to be clear. I don't want to
27th in scoring.
I don't want to sugarcoat it. It was bad last year. And they've spent a ton of money on defense this offseason. Which isn't to say that's bad money spent, but it is to say you can't ignore offense completely after it was bad last year. And with the Rasheed Walker signing, I don't think it's as necessary that they go left tackle with their first pick. And I think pass catcher, meaning wide receiver for me, but I know a bunch of other people will throw in Kenyon Sadiq into that as a tight end. I'm not as high. But receiver for me looks like it's one of the more deep positions at the draft. So, yeah, I think it would be wise if the best player available is a wide receiver that you draft a wide receiver at 19 and you acknowledge that, yeah, it's 3 straight years with a first-round wide receiver, but, the first thing you do when you realize you're making a mistake is stop making it. I think Xavier Legette wasn't a great pick, and the way you stop making that mistake is stop expecting him to be a number 2, number 3 wide receiver and bring someone in that you're more comfortable doing that.
The reason why I said pass catcher was because of the potential of a Kenyon Sadiq, because I know a lot of people are starting to mock him or have been mocking him, number 19, the tight end out of Oregon, to the Carolina Panthers. That's the reason why I mentioned pass catcher.
The only thing, and this could be real nitpicky, the only thing I don't like about Kenyon Sadiq is, first of all, tight end is ridiculously difficult to evaluate, okay? So I'm going to acknowledge I'm probably no better than anybody else, but they're also no better than anybody else. Like, look at the history of first-round tight ends drafted. It's a minefield out there of guys who you wish your team did not draft. But the thing that I think translates the most is, do you look like a basketball player when you're out there making catches? You have to have unreal body control, fluidity. You have to I said look like a basketball player. It's why so many basketball players can move over and play tight end. It's less about straight line speed and more about, do you know where all your limbs are? Are you super duper fluid? And Kenyon Sadiq looks to me like he's tight, right? Like he doesn't have, it's a bit more stiff. There's not that fluidity of movement, which is very difficult to quantify, right? He's going to run unreal 40-yard dashes. He's going to jump high because he's this explosive, very quick twitch athlete. But, like, watch his film and then go watch Eli Stowers. Eli Stowers, the tight end from Vanderbilt, who started his career as a quarterback and jumped like 1,000,000 feet in the vert. He looks to me like a more fluid athlete, and that's what I look for. Last year, Colston Loveland was that way, where you're just running going like, he moves well. I don't know if he's moving fast, but he moves well and looks like he knows where all his limbs are. That's what I look for. It's very wishy-washy. It's hard to quantify. I just don't see it with Kenyon Sadiq, so, I'm against it. I don't think a tight end in his mold has lived up to the hype since Vernon Davis.
It's been a minute.
And Vernon Davis was really, really good. If he
fantastic.
turns into Vernon Davis, I'll feel like a dummy for saying all of this. But, there's a bunch of Noah Fants and Kyle Pitts and all these other guys that have happened since then that didn't quite get there. So I'm looking for more fluidity.
All right. Next one here. Let's actually switch focus real quick to college basketball. Cop or drop, knowing who the Duke Blue Devils have to get through now to get to the Final Four. Cop or drop. Duke basketball makes it to the Final Four. Cop or drop.
I mean, I'm not going to go back on my national championship pick. I think it's Duke. I did say before all of it, as long as Pat Gongba got back by the second weekend, I do think it was perhaps necessary that he got back during the first weekend. But he didn't appear to me to have any setbacks in the game against TCU. And if they get back Caleb Foster, that even adds to that even more. So they're catching St. John's. I think they win that. Then the winner of Michigan State or UConn. Don't get me wrong, these are very difficult challenges, but I think they can win that, and that puts them in the Final Four. So yes, Duke back to the Final Four. I am copping, but I mean, it does feel kind of messed up that they're going Rick Pitino then to the winner of Dan Hurley or Tom Izzo. That just seems a little messed up. I don't really think it is when I think about it logically, but on the surface, it's a gauntlet right there. Either you're going to have Tom Izzo being like, the respected elder voice shaking your hand to like have a wonderful competition, or you're going to have Dan Hurley just going like, yeah. That's what's going on there. And I reserve the right to completely change that by Friday when they play, based on, I don't know, any new information that may come out. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is cop or drop here on The Drive. As promised and as teased earlier, it is now time for first goal scorer predictions. Call in now. Heaster Automotive Group hotline is open. 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326 with who you think will score the first goal for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight and in what period you think they will score it. They are on the road at Montreal, 7 p.m. start time. 919-860-5326. Who will score the first goal and in what period? And I'm putting some positive energy into the world. We need to catch a heater. We're struggling here at 99.9 The Fan. Our personalities haven't had a winner in a while, and I want one. And I've been picking Aho every day. Every game we do this. Of course, we don't do it on weekend games because we don't have a show. He scores in the first minute on a power play. Things aren't going our way just through the cosmos. So call in now. Maybe y'all can jumpstart us. 919-860-5326. And while those calls line up, I'll give you the predictions from our 99.9 The Fan personalities. Adam Gold. The Adam Gold Show has gone with Svetch in the first on the power play. Be nice to the power play stay hot. Victoria. By the way, happy birthday, Victoria Vodenecker of the Adam Gold Show. Perhaps Seth Jarvis will give her a first goal scorer prediction winner as her birthday present. Seth Jarvis in the first, but not in the first 10 minutes, her prediction. Paul Ihander gone with the captain. Jordan Stahl in the first on a one-timer. And Max Gorin, the producer of Paul's show, next up with Paul Ihander, weekday mornings 9 to 10, here on 99.9 The Fan, has gone with Aho in the second, but the early second, as his prediction. Let's go to the call-in line, grab a couple callers, see what their first goal scorer predictions are. We have Brian and Holly Springs up first. Brian, welcome to the show. Who scores the first goal and in what period?
I'm going with the hottest player we got, Ehlers in the first. It'll be a 5-on-5.
Ehlers in the first. 5-on-5. I love the poise and patience that guy has been playing with recently, which is hilarious because he's also one of the fastest guys on the ice. Maybe that's why. Brian, appreciate it. You are locked in. Good luck to you. And that brings us to Edward and Wendell. Ed and Wendell. Edward, go ahead and make your first goal scorer prediction.
I think that it's going to have to be in the first period. I think it might be. I think it's going to be a power play.
Okay.
And I think Jarvis is going to take it.
All right, Jarvis in the first. I like how you kept the anticipation building. You gave us all the details before the player. You have Jarvis in the first on a power play. Edward, appreciate it. Good luck to you. You are locked in with Jarvis in the first, and then an additional detail being the power play. I love that everybody's in on power plays now, although Brian was in on 5-on-5, so maybe there's a little difference there. But the power play was great last time, so now we're rolling with it. Last game, I should say. And our final prediction comes from Taylor and Holly Springs. Our final caller prediction on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline comes from Taylor and Holly Springs. Taylor, actually, we may be mixing in another. Andy's jumping on. We'll see. Taylor and Holly Springs, you're up right now. Who scores the first goal and in what period?
I am going to go with Fetch in the second.
Okay, I always ask this when someone says anything other than the first. Why the slow start?
I just feel like after that Penguins game, getting 5 goals, a lot of the times when we have a really, really good high-scoring game, the next game we just don't score in the first for some reason. We come out slow.
All right. That's well thought out. I appreciate it. Taylor, you are locked in with Svetch in the second. And a bonus caller today because Andy Dalton's calling Andy Dalton. Goodness. Is this Andy Dalton?
I hope it is. It's not, but I wish it was.
That just shows that, like, your brain can go on autopilot. I started saying Andy, and I saw the city is Charlotte, and I just went, Andy Dalton. Not Andy Dalton, but Andy from Charlotte. Who's the first goal scorer and in what period?
Hey, guys, this is Andy Dalton. I'm driving up to Philadelphia.
Fair.
Yeah, this is Andy from Charlotte, not that Andy. And I'm going with my boy Jackson Blake. I've called him before, picked his name. I think I got him one time with you guys, but I can't remember. And I'm going to go in the first because I want a quick, fast-paced scoring game today.
All right. Any other details you want to give, whether it's first 5 minutes or power play or anything like that?
Oh, well, listen, Jackson is not Ehlers quite yet, but I see marks of Ehlers in his skating and his moves. So I think it's just going to be Jackson all by himself, quick breakaway, kind of some fancy skating, avoid some defenders, and in the net.
All right. Andy, not Andy Dalton, but a great Andy that I should not have accidentally called Andy Dalton. Nonetheless, from Charlotte, you are locked in with Blake all by himself with some fancy skating on a breakaway. So appreciate it, Andy. You're locked in. Good luck to you.
By the way, I love how he leaned into it.
He said, I'm on the way to Philly.
On the way to Philly.
As if Andy Dalton just, I think he's probably made $100 million in his career. He's just like got the kids in an Astro van. We're driving up to Philly.
Here we go.
Fantastic. Dennis, we have not heard your first goal scorer prediction.
Oh, by the way, we have Talia says Ehlers late in the first period.
All right.
We also have Tom that is going to go with Taylor Hall in the first period. I haven't seen Taylor Hall score in a little bit.
He's on that line, though, and that line creates chances.
We do have another Jackson Blake in the first period as well. Also, Roddy says give him Jordan Stahl in the first period. Score in the middle part of the first. I'm going to go with the other guy on that line. Give me Logan Stankoven. Late in the first period gets one.
I like that. I like that a lot. Late in the first, you said?
Yep, late in the first. That ties it 1-1.
Oh, you think why the slow start?
No,
why
I just think Montreal's a good team.
That's true, too. And actually, I should say this because he did say it, and I want to give him the receipt. Adam said Svetch in the first is his prediction. Then he came back to me later in the day, said, I'm not changing it. But he thinks Jarvis gets 2, including the game winner in overtime. And I was like, okay. All right, so Svetch in the first, and then Jarvis has 2, including the game winner in overtime. If that happens, I hope he parlays it because that would be a gigantic number. I'm sticking with until I get it right. I know it was right over the weekend, but I didn't get it right because we didn't make the prediction. Aho in the first until it happens. He is up to 1.15 points per game since the Olympic break. I want him to get up to 1.25 because that was one of my predictions as well. And a goal in the first to open the scoring will help him do that. Then at least 1 assist later on. Gets 2 points. We keep boosting that average, which is what I'm looking for. Aho in the first. And then, hopefully Max is right also, and Aho in the second, and then you go from there. Again, it's an underrated part of this Canes roster. Maybe it's not underrated, but it's just one of my favorite, is that when we do first goal scorer predictions, we can have this many different names, and none of us feel like we're going way off the board. Aho, Stankoven, Jarvis, Stahl, Blake, like all of these guys make a ton of sense.
Ehlers is in there too.
Ehlers, absolutely Ehlers.
Oh, we also have a William Carrier. This one comes from Tofu to Goat.
That's
Great
a
name.
little bit further off the board.
He's from Quebec though.
Hometown guy.
I'm
showing off for the fans.
Back in his province.
But it's just like and you could argue they don't have the super duper score. But I think if we were to play this game for a lot of other teams, when we open up the phone lines, they would just be like, same dude, same dude, same dude, same dude, and it would get boring. But with the Canes, there's a bunch of different options that make sense, which I appreciate. Makes it more fun for us. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I mean, what are we? How many goals away is Stahl from a 20-goal season? It's
pretty close.
It's Jordan Stahl. He's almost to a 20-goal season. Blake is up there at 20. Like, there's so many guys. If you're a 20-goal scorer, like, that's a legit option. It doesn't have to be the one big score.
And Stahl is 17, Blake's 20, Ehlers 21, Svetch 25, Aho 25, Jarvis 29. Taylor Hall is 15, Stankoven 14.
There's a lot of options there. A lot of options. And like, Keandre Miller goes on hot streaks. Like there's
which he's been on.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of options here, which is more fun. This is like the craziest example, but if, McDavid or Draisaitl. There you go. And then let's open up the phone lines. Hear 6 people say the same couple of names over and over again and then close the phone lines. Here, it's a good time. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Not saying that's not. It's just not variety. Before we move on, Dennis, you have something you want to tell the people?
That I do. Dennis Cox here real quick. Once again for my good friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Something I haven't talked about with you guys in quite a minute when it comes to Raleigh Weight Loss Center and the journey that I've been on. By the way, I lost over 40 pounds, and I've kept that weight off and maintained that weight thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center and their program. By the way, no shots, no injections, no drugs, no steroids, none of those kinds of things. It's just resetting your metabolism. That way your body can do the natural thing, which is burn off weight. It resets your metabolism. As someone who is approaching the age of 40, and I think anyone that's in that age range understands how difficult it is to lose weight. It's real easy to put the weight on, trust me. But it's extremely difficult to lose the weight when you hit that age. And to have a program that doesn't require you, again, to have any sort of shots or injections or any of those kinds of things, none of the side effects that come along with it, but you can still get your metabolism running like it used to, it really is refreshing, and it does give you a lot of energy. And when you can visibly see results and feel results in a matter of a week or a couple of weeks, it keeps you going to keep on the program and maintain what you're doing and sustain the program because you are visibly seeing those results. I started seeing results literally in the first week. I was about 8 or 9 pounds lighter in the first week. The first 2 weeks, I was probably down 15 pounds, and I can visibly see the difference. Even my fiance would look at me like, your clothes look loose on you. Trust me, people with that have trouble. Hey, how do you keep doing the program? Well, when you see the results, it's easy to keep doing it. There's no shortcuts to it, but I guarantee you, if you stick with it, you'll see results. Give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Again, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone call. You got questions, you got concerns, bring those all to the table. Let them know you heard about it right here on 99.9 The Fan. 919-897-7506 or RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Again, free 15-minute phone consultation. Results may vary.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, asks this question. If Bill Self moves on from Kansas, who gets first pick in the coaching, and by the way, and UNC moves on from Hubert Davis, who gets first pick out of the coaching pool, Kansas or Carolina? Stick around.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
If a spring practice starts and nobody overreacts to it, did it even really happen? It's like a tree falling in the woods. Carolina, the Tar Heels, Bill Belichick, spring practice is underway, and last year to this year, it is night and day. The buzz is less, which means they can improve in silence. This is the year they need to make it happen.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
The NC Courage are back for the new season at First Horizon Stadium at WakeMed Soccer Park. Watch the Courage take on Bay FC Saturday, March 28th at 7 for Game Changers Night, honoring local youth players, presented by Bojangles. Reserve your seats now at nccourage.com.
Whether you're in school, whether it's in life, you just gotta give it everything you got, and I'm glad I was able to represent that.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
Well, I mean, to go back, what Seth said, I mean, you know, just because you miss a shot doesn't mean something's wrong. I mean, we had open looks, we had shots at the basket, we had executed plays, and we missed 8 free throws. And sometimes the ball doesn't go in.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I said it yesterday, but just hearing it again, every time I hear a clip from Hubert Davis's postgame presser, if he does end up losing his job at Carolina, whether it's a resignation or whatever, I think the final nail in the coffin was the postgame presser. It just wasn't handled well, and that's unfortunate because, should that really matter? I don't know, but I know it does. And that does, when change is happening, it's when you kind of look at yourself, right? It's where you evaluate yourself. I had a Carolina diehard fan, one of the people that is from a previous era of my life. I don't talk to him darn near ever, except for he is a diehard Carolina fan, and when he wants to talk Carolina, he Facebook messengers me. That's how long ago it was. And this was his example, not mine. He said Hubert Davis feels like the girl you're dating. Actually, I could just bring it up for you. The girl you're dating who you don't break up with because she's really, really nice and she says everything right, and you're having a good time but not a great time, but she's not the one you want to marry. And if you're a nice guy, you probably should break up with her, but it's hard because, every gift she's given you is really thoughtful, and she gets along with your parents and like all that kind of stuff. And you probably got to bite the bullet on that one, right, and move on. And it might stink and it might hurt and it might ruin your week, right? Ruin hers and yours. But it's what's better for both of you is kind of what he was saying. And it's not going to be a fun week for any of you. I want to be clear on that. But it does make you reevaluate yourself, right? Because if we're using the dating analogy, you're about to be back on the dating market, right? You better hit the gym a little bit, right? You know what I mean? You better make sure you you might not need a six-pack, but drop a couple pounds. You can do a little something, right? Get a haircut. I don't know. I've been dating or married to my wife for a long time. I do not know what the dating world is like. I'm pre-dating app. I never had any of that on my phone, so it's been a while. But so that's where the analogy will stop. But if you're Carolina and you're thinking about quote unquote breaking up with Hubert, you got to be like, well, how attractive am I in the open market? Like, am I somebody that's going to get a lot of swipes? Am I somebody that's going to get a lot of matches? Am I the number 1 draft pick in my city? Which doesn't matter if you're the only game in town until if or when maybe someone like Kansas also moves on from their coach, right? And Bill Self in his postgame or postseason presser, Bill Self is a guy that could probably coach at Kansas till he doesn't want to coach at Kansas. But he's been dealing with some health stuff. He's missed some games with some health stuff, and he was kind of non-committal on his future as the head coach of Kansas. So perhaps for that reason, Carolina and Kansas are entering perhaps, neither of these are official. Perhaps they're entering the dating market at the same time. Let's say they both approach a coach at the same time, right? They're at the bar. The coach is standing by the bar by themselves. This is my opportunity. I'm going to go buy him a drink. And they both walk up at the same time. Which, by the way, I saw today, Billy Donovan might be interested in leaving the NBA and going back to college. To me, that would immediately be you're gonna bark up that tree, see what's going on.
Oh, yeah. And I've seen Carolina fans flow that name out.
So let's say Billy Donovan very obviously makes himself available, and he's approached by both Kansas and Carolina. Who do you think carries the motion? Who do you think has the big chip stack at that poker table? Which is a better job? The head coach for Kansas or the head coach for Carolina? For my money, it's still Carolina. I think this is the way I'm describing it. I think there's more work to be done at Carolina, but like if you're like the bones are better, right? The potential is higher. Kansas is maybe the highest floor of any program in the country, right? Because they're Kansas and the James Naismith and they got the rules of basketball in the basement and all of that. And they're supported there. And in Kansas, you are the big fish in a small pond of athletics. Like you are there. In Carolina, there's a lot of competition, even just in this area amongst college teams. But I still think if the right coach got Carolina operating on just the purest, highest top gear, it's a better version. It's a better version. I think Carolina is still that thing. And obviously, it's not going to be that way for everybody, right? Some coaches are going to want Kansas for different reasons, but I think the majority or at least some larger group than any other place of the ones that might come available, Carolina would quote-unquote get the first option if everything else being equal, right? If Kansas wants to pay $10 million a year and UNC is only willing to go up to $6.5 million, then yeah, Kansas is going to win that battle because it's close enough. But I still think Carolina, the brand, the players, Michael Jordan, all of that adds up to a more attractive spot. And on top of that, and I don't ask me to explain why this matters as much as I think it does. Roy Williams happened. You know what I mean? Like he was a dude that had Kansas cranking and right they made it to the NCAA championship. That was the Kirk Heinrich year, I believe. And he left to go to Carolina, and it worked out swimmingly for him. Now I know he has the previous history, but still, once somebody does it, and it works. It kind of makes sense that you would follow that path later. Not saying they're going after Bill Self, but I'm saying like, hey, if things go well at Kansas, you might be able to go to Carolina, which isn't necessarily true, but that's kind of what happened with Roy. And I think that matters. Dennis, Kansas or Carolina? Let's pretend you're Billy Donovan. You're tired of the pros. You don't like all the one-on-one, no defense, travels don't count nonsense of the NBA, and you want to come back down to college where you're already a legend. You got 2 national championships. Florida has Todd Golden. They're not interested in you, so you can't go back home. Kentucky, I know that's really your home, but they're not looking. So Carolina and Kansas come knocking on your door. Which do you think is the better program?
That's so tough.
It is.
It really is difficult because you have the Dean Dome.
Mm-hmm.
You have Allen Fieldhouse, like 2 historic venues. I don't know, is the Dean Dome getting renovated or is it getting moved? Am I going to a different spot? Because now you might lose a little bit of that aura.
Do you throw your weight around in negotiations and say, I'll take the job as long as?
Maybe.
We are in the Dean Dome and the money is raised to renovate.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I do think.
I think that does matter to people.
I think Kansas, if it does open, and Carolina, if it does open, are good for each other.
Yeah.
Because then there's a legitimate option for I could take another top, 5 program in college basketball unless you can list out your demands, right? Give me this much for NIL, maybe it's something with the arena and the renovations, maybe it's all these, let me pick the GM, like whatever it is, and then a coach gets more of the nest that they're hoping they have at their new spot.
I also wonder as well would it be more attractive to go to Kansas for the fact of you've had the Dean Smith lineage of head coaching for basically since Dean took the job, however many years ago.
65 years.
So now you're the first one that's coming outside of the family that has to step into that role. That's a difficult place to be. So I'm wondering if Kansas might be more attractive possibly in that regard. I also as well, how much money is Kansas actually putting into football? I know they rebuilt their football stadium and or renovated that and stuff, but I mean, you're the king of campus over there in basketball.
Well, I might argue the opposite.
I mean, obviously UNC is kind of the same thing too, I guess.
My argument would be Hubert Davis may have lowered expectations a little bit. Like Roy Williams didn't replace Dean. You know what I mean?
No, I mean it was Matt Doherty. It was Guthrie, then Matt Doherty. Yeah.
There's a bit of resetting of expectations.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Kansas, it went from Larry Brown, to Roy Williams, to Bill Self,
mm-hmm.
and then it would be you. There's some shoes to fill.
Oh, yeah.
Carolina replacing Roy Williams might not have been your thing, but there has been some, like, resetting of like, hey, you might get some improvement years where if you're not operating at full steam, it's okay because of where you took over the program, which might be a little interesting there. Obviously, I think they're two of the top, 5 or 6 jobs in the entire country, maybe 2 of the top 3 in the country if you really want to look at it. But it should, you got to get yourself in order if you're going to be out there on the market is kind of the lesson there.
Oh, Guthridge did get to 2 Final Fours in his 3 seasons, right after Dean.
I would say Doherty was probably the one that reset expectations.
Doherty
for
definitely was.
I mean, you don't want to throw him under the bus, but
I mean, it's what it is.
Yeah, there's records there. Bill Self won a national championship like this decade. That's tough shoes to fill.
Yeah,
and he's got a couple of them things. Roy didn't have any at Kansas, but it was only a matter of time, and he just built that momentum and took it with him to Carolina. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's an interesting question that we may never even have to answer because who knows? Neither of those teams are actually in the market for a head coach right now. Next up, we have the starting 5. Don't go anywhere.
Listen for the Get That Out of Here's.
Rejection! Cameron Boozer got a piece! Get that out of there!
The deep looks from downtown.
McNeil flops up a 3 and connects left corner.
Did he just do that?
McNeil fires a 3, got it far corner, falling down. It's a 2-point game.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9 The Fan. Driven by Fast Park and Relax, Chapel Hill Tire and Roof Works.
Ramsey's knows what it takes to be a champion for Carolina and what it takes to support the herd. Be like Ramsey's today on Give UNC. Champion your favorite cause, support your herd. Give today at giveunc.unc.edu.
When you think breakfast, think Briggs. It's St. Patrick's Month. Briggs has all your March specials, including 2 corned beef eggs Benedicts, a special avocado toast, a special sandwich, and more. They're all available this month only at Briggs.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped, opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
Just text them, see if you qualify. $750? Boom! And right now, they're offering a $75 bonus when you set up an eligible direct deposit.
Think I should call her back?
Yeah.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Hurry and receive an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Text BETTER to 323232. That's BETTER to 323232. BETTER to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by Fineco Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
Is your heating and air system ready for the warmer weather? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your Carrier Factory Authorized dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. Grab a jacket or an extra layer if you have evening plans. Temperatures quickly dip into the 40s with lows in the mid-30s tonight. Wednesday, we bounce back into the mid-60s by the afternoon. Thursday is when the warmth really returns with a high of 79.
Five o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 84 points today at the closing bell to 46,124. This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do have the starting five coming up, but first, a way for you to win. Right now, text keyword BULLS, B-U-L-L-S, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a 4-pack. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4-pack of tickets to the Durham Bulls opening night in the Fan Zone on March 31st. That's a week from today. 1 week from today.
We'll be out there, by the way.
We'll be there. Live show. Stop by, say hi. Text keyword BULLS, B-U-L-L-S, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Durham Bulls opening night.
It's crazy that opening day's right around the corner.
Baseball season. It always sneaks up on you. Pitchers and catchers report for 2028 in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like it's
Right.
it always feels that way.
I think today is officially, or today or tomorrow is the official last day of spring training.
It's crazy. You're starting to see like contracts and things, and I am a sucker, and I'll say this a million times, for good news being delivered videos.
Mm-hmm.
Walk-ons getting scholarships. One of the things that are going around right now, guys finding out they made the opening day roster, or guys finding out pitchers are going to be the opening day starter. There was what was it, Houston? I think it was Houston, maybe the Texas Rangers, somewhere in Texas, a player that has been in the minors for, ever, was pitching in spring training, and the manager, time, blue, walked out to the mound, and the guy's like, oh, man, they're taking me out. I thought I was pitching all right. Walked out there, called the entire infield in and said, hey, you just made the opening day roster. Gave him a little pat on the shoulder. Went back to the dugout and made him keep pitching. Had to finish the inning.
Nice. Hey, pressure's off, buddy.
Hey, you just achieved your entire dream. You've made the big leagues. Way to go. This guy can't deal with the heat on the outside. See ya. Just back to the dugout. I love those videos. I love the stories. So it's happening. And if you want to win some tickets to see an opening day where those guys are trying to achieve the goal, they're one step away from the bigs, text BULLS right now to 919-860-5326. Now, let's start with the starting five, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I feel great about playing football right now.
Brandt Tillis, second in command to Dan Morgan in the front office of the Carolina Panthers, spoke to the media today. We have some audio to play for you. Let's start with the Bryce Young audio. Because every conversation about a quarterback, every conversation, I should say, about a football team usually starts with the quarterback. And at this moment, Bryce Young does not have the long-term extension that so many quarterbacks covet. So Brandt Tillis was asked if there are any long-term contract talks with Bryce Young going on right now.
We haven't had any discussions with his agent about a contract, and any that we would have, we would just keep internal anyways. So it's still the same. Still evaluating and just curious to see where it all goes, and very excited about Bryce and all that he brings to us.
I think that's fair. If I'm the Carolina Panthers, I'll tell you exactly when I have the first conversation with agents of Bryce Young about an extension. When his agent calls and starts the conversation. I'm not putting that anywhere near ahead of where it needs to be. There's 0% chance if I'm Brandt Tillis and Dan Morgan, unless he agrees to the discount of all discounts, 0% chance he gets an extension before this season. I would wait till after this season where he can play his way into more money or less money. You have him under contract for this year. You then have the 5th-year option the next year. Then if you need it, you have a franchise tag for the next 2 years. So if you want to just bully him, he can't hit the open market for 4 more seasons. I'm in no rush to make any kind of market setting or market meeting contract for Bryce Young. With that being said, he was also asked meaning Brandt Tillis, was also asked where the Panthers are as a team when it comes to roster building, and I thought it was an interesting answer.
I look at the team building process in 3 stages. It's building, contending, and sustaining. And I think of it like climbing up a mountain. And I think right now we're somewhere between building and contending. And we can see where it all plays out. We're still adding good players to our roster. We are more competitive than we have been in the past. And we can just see how it plays out from there.
Oh, the old scale. Building, contending, sustaining. You heard his answer there. He was asked a follow-up, which is how does roster construction change when you go from building to contending? And this is what Tillis said.
The contending to sustaining probably means dipping your toe less in free agency. And it's more about retaining your own players who you've drafted and relying on the draft to bring in your talented players. It's a hard stage to get to, and not many teams do, and I hope we get there.
It is like I use this phrase all the time. It's simple. It's not easy. Like 3 steps. That's all there is. Building, contending, sustaining. Just 3 steps. It's simple. It ain't easy. I think there are teams that have been in the building stage in the NFL for like 2 decades. They've just been building and building and building and building and building and building. The Panthers, I think, are off square one, right? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I think they're a few steps forward, which puts them ahead of more than a couple teams in the NFL. But they're a long way from, just worrying about sustaining. That's number 5. Let's hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Pro days going on across the triangle. Those are college football pro days where you get everybody together, all your players who have exhausted their eligibility or have declared for the NFL draft, and you do everything that you do at a combine, meaning 40-yard dash, drills, all those things, right? The L drill, vertical jump, and you invite all the scouts to your facilities to handle it. And what was it? Yesterday was Duke and Carolina. Today is NC State. It's important, but it's far from the most important thing. I think really what you're looking for is the interactions, right? You want to see who's asking you, if you're a player, who's asking you to have dinner the night before, who's asking you to get together, it's really like this, I don't know, sociological study. Which teams are sending the position coach for your position, and then which are running the drills? A lot of times at these pro days, it'll be like, so-and-so was put through linebacker drills by the Seahawks linebackers coach, and everybody else just watched as the linebackers coach kind of took control. Like, that, to me, is more important than, like, what did your hand-timed L drill come out to? So, those are the things that are really important, and also how many scouts show up, right? You want to have all 32 teams represented for the simple fact of you want to be able to tell recruits you have all 32 teams represented. I'd be calling in favors. Like, are you sending a position coach? No. Can you just send anybody in your team's polo just so I can put out the social media graphic that says every team was represented? I don't care if you got to find some guy off Craigslist and overnight him a hoodie. Just have somebody in your team's gear watching with a notepad, please. And yeah, that's about all I have for pro days. I don't put too much into it. I will say measurements matter. I'll give you that as well. Everybody's going to get their height, weights, and everything. That matters if you weren't at the combine because they want real numbers on that kind of stuff. I did not do my pro day. Mostly because nobody asked me to.
You didn't throw at least?
No, actually, it was kind of sad for one of my really, really good friends, and I won't say his name because it's a little embarrassing. We had a defensive back and a wide receiver that were like all conference, like studs for us. And they were there. And I had worked out with them the entire time. I had prepped with them because I was going to throw the passes for the drills. I wasn't doing it for myself, but I was helping them out. We showed up, and the scout said, no, we're good. I was like, you don't want them to run routes? They were like, no, we're good. They didn't even want to see them run routes.
Huh.
I was like, that's kind of brutal for them.
Ouch.
Kind of. You know what's messed up, though? One of them went on to have like a 6-year NFL career. He was part of the Legion of Boom, played in a Super Bowl for the Seahawks. So they just didn't need to see him catch, I guess. It helped that he ran like a 4.37 or something like that. And they went, we've seen enough. We don't need this quarterback to throw to him. But I did do a lot of practicing with them to not be called out of the bullpen on their pro day.
That could have been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
like the guy that throws for him.
Yeah, and I would have done it the previous 2 years, but I wasn't allowed to.
So dumb.
So dumb. That is, what number was that, Dennis?
That was number 4.
4. Let's get to 3. Spring practice opens today for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels football team. There's a lot of differences from last year. Right? Some of the novelty has worn off. Some of the perhaps excitement has worn off a little bit. But also, different coach, offensive coordinator. Bobby Petrino, the offensive coordinator. There's a name. I'm still not used to saying. Bill Belichick head coach, Bobby Petrino offensive coordinator for an ACC football team is just, it'll never feel normal. But Bill Belichick at his spring practice opening presser was asked about the impact of Bobby Petrino taking over as offensive coordinator. This is what the head ball coach said.
Bobby will run it and call it, and so, but I'd say, foundationally, a lot of the things that Bobby did at Arkansas, or even going back to Louisville. I mean, I've known Bobby for a long time, and several of our coaches have worked for him, and so I'd say there's overall pretty good chemistry on the staff. It's not, again, several of those coaches have all worked together, but yeah, I've known Bobby for a long time. I think a lot of things that he did are similar to what we did at New England. So the merger of those really is. They're not the same, but there's definitely similarities and concepts and so forth. So we've had a pretty easy time getting on the same page, and we just weren't able to really get there last year for a number of reasons. And so this year we're much further ahead in that process. And
the offense. Last year. Worse. Or by personnel, or it wasn't because the offense has to be fault better.
By the way, he did say Belichick did. The Petrino's basically treat him like what Josh McDaniels was when he was with the Patriots. That's literally what he said. He's like, yeah, he's basically the same as Josh McDaniels.
He's going to run the show, and I won't really talk to him unless I'm furious.
Basically.
And then we'll yell at each other for a little bit, and then Tom Brady will make us both look good.
Pretty much.
I also want to give a head tip to Brian Murphy, WRAL Sports reporter. He pointed this out. I'll just read his tweet exactly. At a time when teams are getting older, UNC is going the other way. UNC lists 17 redshirt freshmen and 31 true freshmen on its spring roster, which includes 4 graduate students, 5 redshirt seniors, and just 3 true seniors. That's an interesting pivot, right? This is, again, predictive or kind of maybe my mistake for assuming. I assumed when Bill Belichick took over a college program, he would get a ton of players who felt like they were NFL ready but just wanted to be polished before the draft for 1 year or 2 years before going pro. I guess that strategy out the window because he's going like, maybe let's get the guys that are young and develop them, and hopefully they'll stick around for the whole time. It's just different than what I thought. Not good or bad, not better or worse, just different than what I thought they would lean into at Carolina. And we'll see if it works out for them. But I said this earlier, first day of spring practice is awesome. Everybody's buzzing around. You're out on the field for the first time in a long time. I don't know if this is true. There used to be a rule that in winter sessions, like the time between the end of the season and spring practice, you weren't allowed to be around like really any staff, not strength and conditioning, not position coaches, with a football. To the point where we used to tape up towels into the shape of a football to do like basically practice stuff, but we couldn't have a football. And then spring practice, you could just have like a real pigskin in your hands and you could play catch with like coach watching. And it was so much of like a, thank goodness we're back to what we're supposed to be doing.
Oh, when I was in college for the longest time in Division III, even for organized like spring practice, you couldn't actually have a football for like the real ones that counted.
That's funny.
That's
like ridiculous.
But I mean, I can understand, hey, don't put pads on. Okay, fine. I can understand that, but we can't throw the ball? Can't hand it off?
It's seriously why, if you look at most, if the facilities have been built since before the rules started making more sense as of late, every single head coach's office usually had big glass windows overlooking some form of a practice field that players would have access to, because then when you had like players run 7-on-7 or players run throwing sessions, players run practices where coaches weren't in attendance, I mean, you can't tell the coach he can't sit at his desk, right? And his desk happens to be pointed out these big windows right to where everybody was practicing. So it was kind of like, I'm just here doing my busy work.
It's a lovely day.
Yeah, I'm just going to look outside. And it seriously had to be that kind of like, at least just make it seem like you're not breaking the rules as you broke the rules. Our coach used to do his workouts in the cold months running or walking around the concourse in the basketball arena, because we used to do throwing sessions on the basketball floor. And he would just be there getting a good sweat in, guys. He's just there walking around, power walking with ankle weights, while we did just happened to be at the same time when we were doing our throwing sessions. It was, had to be that dumb. I hope that's all changed. Spring practice was like the end of all the dumb. We could actually, work out and have them watch and tell us what we're doing bad and need to do better. That was, let's see here, number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us. Now Ehlers with it. They'll exchange spots here. Seth Jarvis. Ehlers wants it. He scores! A one-timer from Nikolai Ehlers on the power play. And Carolina's lead is 2-0.
It is a hockey night in Carolina, although the game is played in Montreal. You can hear that game right here on 99.9 The Fan. 7 o'clock puck drop, which means 6:30 Storm Watch with Adam Gold. It is the third of a 3-game road trip. They did win both of their first 2, one in overtime, one dominantly over Pittsburgh. And they're looking to complete the trifecta tonight. It appears as if Freddie Anderson will be in net. He was first off the ice, kind of the starter's role during morning skate. And Charles Alexis Legault, a rookie who played in 8 games earlier this year due to injury. He was replacing injured guys, but played very well, and then suffered a nasty skate slice on his hand that required surgery and held him out of hockey drills for 2-3 months. He's been skating in the AHL for a while. He's called up today. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to play. Could just mean they want the extra depth. Could mean someone's not feeling great, and maybe they want to have the ability for him to step in. We'll see. All we know is he's being recalled from the AHL. Dennis, I'm putting you on the spot, as I often do.
Okay.
Montreal tonight on the road. If-then statement. If blank happens, then the Canes beat Montreal, a good team, and they come home 3-0 on the roadie.
I think if the Carolina Hurricanes do not allow a goal in the second period, I think they win.
That's very specific, and yes. I'm going to ask why.
So I think we have seen Carolina, by the way, as much as sometimes we will say, well, they could have gotten more out of their first period. I think they actually have the most first period goals out of any team in the league, if not they're up near the top. But I think it's one of those situations where if Carolina can dominate that middle period, they can extend their lead, and then they can truly dictate the third period in terms of forcing Montreal to play from behind. And I think that's what the second period would allow them to do, especially when there's a long change. I think if they can get their forecheck going in the second period and, again, keep Montreal to 0 goals in the second, and I think they win it, obviously, in the third.
Second period's the key.
Yeah.
I like it.
Especially because sometimes we have seen Carolina come out of the first period with a 1-0 lead. You're like, they could have got more. But you know what? That happened against the Pittsburgh Penguins this past Sunday. And guess what?
It does feel maybe that is the second period could be the key, because if you do have a quote unquote typical Canes first period where you outshoot them 16-6, you high leverage out chance them 8-2, and you're up 1-0. It's not all bad. It's not like you're still buzzing, but you do need to start converting. And if you do it early, particularly early in the second period, it's kind of like, oh, good. But if you don't and it goes 1-1, that's where all the thoughts in your mind start to creep negative. So maybe the second period is the key. That was number 2. How about number 1?
Dennis Cox, 99 on the Fan in Raleigh. Hubert, why did you go to just a 6-man rotation in the second half?
Because that was my decision.
The reason, if you heard me laugh there, I didn't turn my mic off, is because, Dennis, you've had like the ultimate highs and the ultimate lows of press conferences.
I know, right?
You get the question for Hubert Davis after their elimination that goes viral. You're getting push notifications about the answer from the ESPN app. It's the whole thing. And then you accidentally just pump audio that shouldn't be sent into the Brandt Tillis press conference.
Well, you make it sound like it was something dirty.
No, the audio was just, it just wasn't, your question. It's just funny that you the Hubert Davis question, which, by the way, I don't think it's just his response. His response was not a good one, right? Because that was my decision. Bad response. But I don't think it's just the response. It's also, the reason why it was a good question is because we talked with Pat Welter yesterday, WRAL. He's making calls constantly up and down the UNC program, trying to figure out what's going on with their coaching situation. And pretty much point blank, everybody is upset around the coaching decision Hubert Davis made in the second half against VCU, which was to go from, 8-9 guys that appeared in the first half to just 6 in the second half. And that obviously played a part in not having the steam to finish out what ended up being a 19-point lead in the 19-point lead in the second half. Sorry, anytime I get an ESPN notification right now, I have to pause and read it just in case it's Hubert Davis news. But it was just Joe Flacco agreeing to a deal with the Bengals. 1-year deal for the Flack Man. Nobody calls him that. But going back, Hubert Davis, that is the type of thing that if you have a fantastic explanation for it, or you make maybe some more logical coaching decisions and it doesn't work, it's easier to keep a guy in that situation, right? It's here's the part that I think maybe the disconnect is happening for some that are defending Hubert more aggressively here. Caleb Wilson was hurt, okay? I said this off air, I think, yesterday. And I'm repeating myself because I said it on air. I apologize. Hubert Davis wasn't hurt. Caleb Wilson was hurt. It is appropriate to lower expectations when Caleb Wilson gets hurt, okay? They didn't reach those lowered expectations. They were up 19 in an NCAA tournament game. 19 points in the second half of an NCAA tournament game. This is not an exaggeration. I was a mediocre high school basketball player. I have not picked up a basketball in competitive form in probably a decade. If you replace Caleb Wilson with me in a 19-point lead, I think you'd probably hope to be able to pull that off. And they did not replace him with me. I'm not saying I'm a good player. I'm saying I'm a bad player. I'm saying even if you put a bad player in that situation, you should be able to find a way to just eliminate the game, hide me, right? Once you have the 19-point lead, everything that happens between having the 19-point lead and losing the game is going to be scrutinized to the 10th degree. And limiting your rotation, I mean, that's not even like an overly scrutinized. That's right there open on the surface. It's just a bad coaching decision. And guess what? Everybody makes bad coaching decisions occasionally, but you then better have an explanation for why you made it. And he didn't. He just said it was his decision. Rough look. Still the coach, though, as of now. And I don't know how long you keep waiting before you think maybe they're going to keep him around, which would be, at this point, kind of unprecedented. When this much smoke exists and there's no fire, it'd be kind of unprecedented, as I said. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do have a numbers game to get to with a pretty awesome prize. But before that, here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, you're running out of time. If you haven't done it already, I need you to go to caniacsbike.com. Caniacsbike.com, because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. The way to enter, folks, it's simple. There's one way to do it. You go to caniacsbike.com. It literally takes you a minute. Take a minute to actually type in caniacsbike.com, enter your information, submit, enter. Done. You've entered. Congratulations. Now you can potentially win a custom V4 Ducati motorcycle, again, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. By the way, this isn't a motorcycle that's just, hey, let's slap a couple Carolina Hurricanes logos on there and say it's a custom Canes bike. No. This is custom painted, fully detailed by Shiny Side Paint. Canes logos, decals, there's detailing, there's actual depth and layers to the paint job. Everything on it, absolutely gorgeous. If you want to see the bike for yourself, swing by Art Moto Garage. You can go see the bike for yourself. They're located right here in Raleigh, or you'll see pictures of the bike right there on caniacsbike.com. Enter right now for your chance to win. Deadline to enter, by the way, it's this Sunday, March 29th, so don't wait. Enter now. Bike will be given away April 4th, live at the game on the ice, and it includes tickets to a catered suite. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, is ready to play the numbers game. Lil Wayne is back, everybody, and he's bringing 20-plus years of Carter classics to Coastal Credit Union Music Park on Saturday, September 26th, with special guests 2 Chainz. If you want a pair of tickets, well, we have one for you, but you got to win the numbers game. Call in now, 919-860-5326 for your chance to compete for a pair of tickets to see Wheezy, Tunchi, Lil Wayne, as well as 2 Chainz. Tickets are on sale now, but you can win a pair by winning the numbers game. I mean, just throw the Carter 3 on a mix CD from 2008, and you got nostalgia from my era, just having a great old time. Who amongst us can't rap every word to a milli? If you're in that world, you want to call in and play the numbers game. Lil Wayne is back. If you want to see him, call 919-860-5326 and be ready to win the numbers game. Next.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina. It's your Canes and Montreal.
Miller's coming in shorthanded. Miller back in, he scores!
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 6:30. Puck drop at 7.
Nikishin got that bomb and he scores! Game over! Alexander Nikishin's first overtime game winner
On your official audio home of Hurricanes hockey, 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
Ooh, with the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's bow time, and then there's Bojangler time. You heard right. The Bojangler fish fillet sandwich is back for limited time at participating Bojangles. A light, flaky, perfectly seasoned fish fillet with lettuce, cheese, and tartar sauce tucked inside a bun. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
When your check engine light comes on, do you see a repair bill or do you see peace of mind?
For 20 years, CarShield's been the name America trusts to help keep you on the road. While other companies stop covering you when your car gets older, CarShield offers protection plans up to 200,000 miles. With over $1 billion in claims paid, we don't just promise protection, we deliver it. Don't let a breakdown break your budget. Get the flexible month-to-month coverage you deserve. Go to CarShield.com. That's CarShield.com today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. We have Hudson and Coates. We have Ryan and Clayton. And they will be battling it out for Lil Wayne tickets. Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz tickets, to be specific. And, as always, we'll bring each of them onto the show, ask them this same question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. We'll start with Hudson and Coates. Hudson, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. You're a little muffled, so just make sure you're aware of that when we do make our picks, or when you do play the game. Here's the question we're asking today. We had a debate earlier about where Carolina versus maybe a Kansas would be as a coaching job. So I'm going to broaden it up. And this is obviously probably more hypothetical for you, being sounding a little bit younger. But if you're a coach, any sport, what do you think is the best coaching job that you could have? If you're a coach and they say any sport, team sport, what coaching job are you taking?
Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta Braves, old baseball coach. Any follow-up there, Dennis? Nope. All right, Atlanta Braves, locked in. Perhaps Dennis, last name, perhaps a big Bobby Cox fan. Let's go to Ryan and Clayton. Ryan, you're up next. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
All right, we were having some, which is the better coaching job debates earlier, so we're broadening it out a little bit further. What is the best coaching job in all of sports? If you're a coach, you can have any sport, team coaching job. Which one are you rolling with?
All right, I'm taking the New York Jets, and I'm taking them back to relevancy. We're going to win our first Super Bowl since we've been to the moon.
You're somebody who's like, I want to struggle. I like the challenge. All right, Dennis, you now get to choose which is the better coaching job, the Atlanta Braves or the New York Jets.
I believe the correct answer we're looking for is actually the U.S. women's hockey team, because they're just that good. It's the easiest job in the world, I feel like.
Autopilot?
Yeah, exactly, pretty much. I don't know why you would hate yourself and choose the Jets. Unless you just
loves the challenge.
Unless you just unless you just want to be miserable for the rest of your life. So I'm going to go with Hudson and Coates on this one for the Atlanta Braves.
All right, Hudson will get to go first. Don't worry, Ryan, you will have your chance. Just have to sit on hold. Hudson, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes.
All right, the categories are NFL, Panthers throughout history, NFL, players born on federal holidays, NBA, players from the Central Division, or NHL, Hurricanes throughout history.
I want the NFL Panthers.
All right, NFL Panthers. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. And, again, I said you're a little bit muffled, so if I say it again, don't ask why. Don't just repeat it, because we want to. The time still matters, okay?
Okay.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Deshaun Foster, Carolina Panthers.
23.
Incorrect. Kyle Allen, Carolina Panthers.
9.
Incorrect. Deshaun Foster, Carolina Panthers.
24.
Incorrect. Kyle Allen, Carolina Panthers.
Pass.
Laviska Shenault Jr., Carolina Panthers.
23.
Incorrect. Deshaun Foster, Carolina Panthers.
33.
Incorrect. Kyle Allen, Carolina Panthers. I was hoping you snuck one under the buzzer there. Deshaun Foster, we were looking for 20 or 26, so you were in the right neighborhood. Kyle Allen, 7 is what we were looking for, and you did get one shot at Laviska Shenault Jr., 5 or 15. He wore them both. Unfortunately, that is a 0. However, you still have a chance, because ties go to whoever goes first. So if we get double offers, you'll still be the winner. So stay on hold, okay?
Okay.
All right, there you go, Hudson. Anytime we have a younger guesser and I see some guys that are not current on the roster, I'm like, this could be tough.
He was close on a couple
Yeah,
of them, though.
I think he knew the positions, just didn't know the numbers. We go to Ryan and Clayton. Ryan, can you hear me?
I hear you.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players born on federal holidays, NBA players from the Central Division, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Go federal holidays.
All right. NFL players born on federal holidays. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There'll be 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. You do need at least one for the victory, but keep pushing all the way through. There's cool things that come with being a perfect score. Any questions before we get started?
Let's roll.
Let's roll. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Ladd McConkey, Los Angeles Chargers.
32.
Incorrect. Tyler Higbee, Los Angeles Rams.
89.
Correct. Rashard Mendenhall, Pittsburgh Steelers.
12.
Incorrect. Ladd McConkey, Los Angeles Chargers.
30.
Incorrect. Rashard Mendenhall, Pittsburgh Steelers.
18.
Incorrect. Ladd McConkey, Los Angeles Chargers.
94.
Well, I said you needed one, and you got exactly that. So congratulations.
Going to see Wheezy.
Hey, I like the enthusiasm there, I have to be honest. Not a lot of enthusiasm within the game, but in the celebration, it's there. So congratulations, you're seeing Wheezy and 2 Chainz.
That's right. That is right.
Go ahead and stay on the line, and Dennis will grab the info he needs. For those of you playing at home, Ladd McConkey, number 15. 32. 30. 15 is what we were looking for. Rashard Mendenhall, 34, running back from back in the day. But he got Higbee of all of them for the win. If you're wondering what federal holidays they were born on, Ladd McConkey is a Veterans Day baby. Tyler Higbee, born on New Year's Day. And Rashard Mendenhall, born on Juneteenth. Those are the holidays. That's how they ended up in that category. How do you like? That was a wild one. I don't know why that one caught me off guard.
Going to see Wheezy.
Do it one more time.
Going to see Wheezy.
I love the enthusiasm. I love it. Wheezy, F baby, and the F is for finding a way to win the numbers game. Looking back, that's not the most creative way to rap lyrically.
No, it's not, but I'm just going to let that one sit.
But he uses it in so many, and it works because it's Wheezy. He can pull it off. I can't. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Please, few things real quickly here. Subscribe to YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, the channel. Check out the videos, comments, share, do all of that. We'd greatly appreciate it. Also, download the app, 99.9 The Fan, the app, Google Play, App Store, completely free to you. Bunch of different ways to interact with our content there. We'd greatly appreciate it. 3, all the other social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's all just search 99.9 The Fan. Follow, like, whatever, the subscribe. I don't know what the words are. We would greatly appreciate it. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. And also when it comes to breaking news, right? If news breaks between 9 and 10 in the morning on a weekday, or between noon and 6 in the afternoon on a weekday, we're already live local on air here on 99.9 The Fan. So we'll break in, do what we have to do. But if news breaks outside that, we do a pretty good job, I think, of making sure there's instant analysis, instant reaction, instant confirmation on news that breaks outside those windows. But social media is probably the best place to get all of that. So 99.9 The Fan on your favorite social media, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube, and the 99.9 The Fan app are all really good places to make sure you are up to date on the teams you care about. Right? Yes, there are, national newsbreakers out there, but do they care as much about the Canes as we do? No. Do they care as much about the teams in the Triangle as we do? Absolutely not. And definitely not the Carolina Panthers. We take great pride in that, so we want to make sure you get to benefit from the work and the coverage that we try so hard to give you. Along those lines, play-by-play is all over 99.9 The Fan. Tonight, 7 o'clock, Carolina Hurricanes at Montreal, and that means 6:30 Stormwatch with Adam Gold, the postgame with Adam Gold. All of those interactions will be right here on 99.9 The Fan. And we'll keep that rolling as the week goes along with different games that are available to you here on The Fan. And also, if you didn't win the Lil Wayne tickets, you can still find a way to be a winner. Text keyword Bulls, BULLS, to 919-860-5326. I'm going to bring the enthusiasm for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Durham Bulls opening night in the Fan Zone on March 31st. Like the caller, right? I'm going to see Weezy. You could be going to see the Durham Bulls. Why did my impression of that fan just turn into Dick Vitale? Going to see Weezy. He's super scintillating, sensational in the performance. He's a diaper dandy, a true PTPer. Dick Vitale. And I know people didn't love Dick Vitale and Charles Barkley on the first 4 broadcasts that they did together, but I did. Those two can do no wrong in my book when it comes to announcing games. They don't rub everybody kind of the right way for broadcasting things, but I thought it was hilarious. They went 15 minutes without barely talking basketball. But guess what? I can watch the basketball. I know what's going on. Just let those two be in a room together, and I'm going to find it entertaining. It was 2 different shows. It was them doing a podcast and me watching basketball, but it was Dick Vitale and Charles Barkley, so I'm okay with it. We will be giving away Lil Wayne tickets all week, by the way. So keep calling in for the numbers game. If you didn't win today, you'll have a chance to win tomorrow. With that being said, we have what we're calling a Hubert Davis feedback frenzy coming up in just a couple of minutes. It's going to be feedback frenzy from YouTube, all about Hubert Davis. But before we get to that, Dennis Cox has a message.
That's right, I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for Loan Pronto. Folks, stop letting that high-interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. It's a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity with no appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven tech to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day with a rate that's at a 3-year low. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours. They wiped out all their credit cards, started a home improvement project, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,500. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much cash you can get. No hard credit pull up front. And just imagine, this time next week, you could be credit card debt-free. Loan Pronto, A+ rated by the BBB with nearly 2,800 5-star Google reviews. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back with a Hubert Davis-specific feedback frenzy. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
For teams who missed the tournament or took early losses, the time to reflect ended the morning after. The business of player retention is now key for your program, and the playing field is more level than it ever was as revenue shares in place. Your coach's pitch now focuses on when do we get our next championship, because that's the only currency your fan base cares about.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Listen up for big savings during Declaration of Deals Month at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Get that 2026 Ram 1500 Laramie you've had your eye on while they're offering $14,500 off. Or pick your financing 0% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. John Heister's declaring Jeep deals too. Get $11,000 off a 2025 Jeep Wagoneer or over $12,000 off a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Limited. So get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington today.
Is your heating and air system ready for the warmer weather? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your Carrier Factory Authorized dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So there are certain conversations that we've had on 99.9 The Fan, whether it's us, interviews, other shows, they tend to be a little polarizing. One of them is what's going on with the Carolina Tar Heels men's basketball coaching situation. They draw a lot of comments. So we're going to fire up the feedback frenzy here, but it's going to be all about Hubert Davis.
All right, earlier in the show on our YouTube live chat regarding Hubert Davis. This one comes from Tom Hunsberger. Tom says this: some programs will be happy with what Hubert Davis has done. However, UNC basketball isn't one of those programs. UNC basketball has higher standards than that. Tom continued to say, UNC should be a Sweet 16 team at minimum year in and year out. They should be competing for ACC titles year in and year out. Davis has not met the standard where UNC should be.
I agree with the first part especially. I think there's a lot of teams that would be tremendously excited with the success that Carolina has had.
For sure.
They probably don't invest as much as Carolina, and they definitely don't have the history of Carolina, so you got to bake that in. Also, I would add one caveat to the Sweet 16 every year thing. I mean, there's ready for this? Expert analysis, I should say. This is really hard-hitting stuff. Only 16 teams get to make the Sweet 16. That's a really, really small number. So I would add this. You should make the Sweet 16 most years, and the years where you don't, it should feel unbelievably bad, right? This year, even if they beat VCU, if they beat VCU and lost in the next game, it would have been like, all right. That's the issue, right? I mean, take the best programs in the country, and I know people hate to be compared, but let's say Duke, right? Duke has the years where they lose to Mercer, where they lose to Lehigh, where they get upset, but when it happens, we still remember it 20 years later. It's, oh my gosh. That's how it should be for a school like Carolina, right? It's 16 spots. The tournament is random. You get crazy bounces. Losing it before the Sweet 16 is not like a program-ending mistake. But when it starts to not be unacceptable, right? Oh my gosh, you lost. That's terrible. When it starts to be like, yeah, well, you at least you won one game. That is where it becomes an issue. And I think you're getting dangerously close to that with Carolina right now.
All right, the next one up here on our YouTube live chat also comes from... Oh, this person deleted their thing. All right, actually, next one here. This one actually comes from Daniel Burke. Daniel Burke says this: 18-0 at home, beat Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, Virginia, Louisville, Clemson. Caleb Wilson got hurt 3 times in a national championship game since 2016. Duke as 0. Anything, no appearances, no championships.
Okay.
Daniel also says this: top 5 recruiting class next year, Mango and Maximo. Hubert Davis deserves more time.
I will say this, all facts, right? You can't argue the factual accuracy of what was just said. However, if you only list the accomplishments and don't list the negatives, everyone's going to feel pretty darn good, right? Who did they beat? They beat Kentucky. They beat this team. They beat that team. They beat Duke. Way to go. They also lost to SMU, lost to Stanford, lost to Cal, lost to Michigan State, lost to NC State, and gave up a 19-point lead in the second half against VCU in the NCAA tournament. Right? They've made it to more national championship games than Duke has. Well, guess what? Duke has won as many ACC tournament championships in the last 4 years as UNC has this century. You can't tell half the story and go, why is everyone mad? It's like, well, if you only list the good, you're going to be confused as to why the bad is happening, right?
Also, you mentioned going back to 2016. I'm like, well, Hubert Davis was the head coach then.
That's true too. But it's what you just did there. And I'm not this is what fans do. I'm not knocking individually you for doing it, but it's why you have to kind of take a grain of salt. If you're only friends with one person in a romantic relationship and they are just constantly complaining about their partner and then they break up, of course you're going to blame everything on the partner, right? Because you only heard all the good things that your friend does. But then if you ever got the true story from the other side, guess what? Your friend probably wasn't perfect either. You know what I mean? If you appear to be on the Hubert Davis side of the relationship where you're just listing accomplishments. I'm great. I take out the trash. I'm great. I do this. I'm awesome. If you were to talk to the partner, they're like, they disappear without telling me. They did. Like, you got to give both sides of the story. And if you're going to do like the why is everyone mad? Like, there are reasons. There are definitely reasons.
All right, we talked about earlier about the standards of Carolina basketball, and we had mentioned Tom or one of our listeners, his expectations, I guess, for UNC basketball. This one comes from AJ Pennypacker on the conversation we had earlier as well. The standard for Carolina basketball is this, like laid it out quite well. Competing for first in the ACC every year, getting a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, which means you're finishing the year in the top 25, splitting with Duke every year at a minimum, depending on how good State is, splitting with them at a minimum, making it to the Sweet 16 4 out of every 5 years, and making a run to the Final Four at least once out of every 5 years.
That's very specific, and I like the specificity.
I like the specificity of that. But AJ does continue to say, this is my opinion, but I think most Carolina fans will agree on this. I don't care about ACC tournaments. That's all just gravy. Former players like Tyler Hansbrough have said that under Roy, they didn't care about the ACC tournament. Championships are the goal.
I hate that. Maybe I'm old school. I think conference championships still matter, but if I'm not going to split hairs with you on that. In the interest of specificity and accuracy, I will say, you can't at least split with NC State because you're only playing them once, which stinks, and I hate it. But just in the interest of accuracy, but I'm like, if that's what it is, I'm not even going to argue with like if that's your standard, that's your standard. I'm cool with that. I just think it's important to establish what it is, because if you move on from Hubert, and then you have a guy that's like a little bit more charismatic but has the exact same record, I think you should move on from that guy too, right? Like it's there has to be a standard, or else you're kind of a little too wishy-washy. So if it is everything that commenter said, cool, that's it. Put it in writing in a contract somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, make everybody aware of what the standard is, so there's you don't get caught in this moment again where you're like, I don't know, is what he's doing good enough? It's close. I like him. Should we move on? I don't know. It's like, no, set it so you know, and you can be a bit more cut and dry. Listen, and I actually think I've seen this point made a few times. I don't think this is the job Hubert thought he was taking. I think Hubert wants to coach college basketball as he knows it. I think Hubert wants to mold young men into the adults that they become, similar to what Dean Smith did for him and his teammates. I think he wants to coach guys that intend on showing up in Chapel Hill and playing 4 years and having the entire experience and loving it. And instead, he took over a program that's like, how much money are you giving me? I will transfer if I don't play. I want to be in the NBA in 18 months or less. Like, that's just what college basketball is now. And I don't know if he is as excited for that.
I mean, he was one of the latest major programs to get a general manager.
That's
took him a long time.
Perfect example.
That basically means you're a pro.
Which it's kind of admirable that Hubert Davis wants to do the other thing, because I think that's way less fun and way less glitzy and way less glamorous than what's happening now. But that's what he wanted to do. So, like, setting the expectation as, listen, we're not going to be that stoked if, like, you set Seth Trimble up for life and he's got a good business mind and he's buying franchises and you two have a great relationship, if it doesn't also come with an appearance in the Final Four. Like, you got to set the expectations on what it is, because Hubert might be like, no, did you see? Like, Seth Trimble showed up as some kid from Milwaukee, and look what he is now. That's admirable. And if he's proud of that, he should be. But you got to win basketball games as more of a business now. Mm-hmm. And you got to win them on the stages that they need to be won, not just like we win a majority of our regular season games. That's not going to be enough anymore.
All right, final one here real quick. This is actually on the video of you having the conversation with Pat Welter yesterday. This one comes from JSR. JSR says, UConn had a similar situation with Kevin Ollie, who was handpicked by Jim Calhoun. Yes, Ollie won a title, but that was essentially with Calhoun's team. UConn gave him a few years, which stunk, and they promptly hired Dan Hurley.
Yes. At the Kevin Ollie situation, were there not some kind of infractions mixed in there?
I think there were.
That's going to cloudy everything. But listen, like all of the top programs deal with the same thing, which is their standards are very high. And even if it's a good dude that you like, or if it's, I don't know the Ollie situation, the standards, ready for this, Mike Tomlin, the standard is the standard. It doesn't change because you're somebody that everybody seems to have a good impression of. Standard is the standard. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. More of the Hubert Davis conversation leading off Overdrive. Then some audio from Brandt Tillis of the Panthers press conference from earlier today. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see if any news happens between now and then. Enjoy the Canes tonight at 7. See ya.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Cameron Boozer. Put it off the window! Count it in a foul!
Listen for the Get That Out of Here's.
Kongba blocked it. What a rejection.
Oh my goodness.
The lob! Brown hangs from the rim, and the lead grows to 22.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9. The Fan. Driven by Strategic Tax Resolution, Wake Med, Fairway Green, and Chapel Hill Family and Cosmetic Dentistry.
I am here with Patrick Day of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. I'm on your website,